This is a warning to all living mortals, that who shall ever open this chest of demons will release 13 of the most terrifying ghosts upon the face of the earth. Okay, cut it. This isn't going to work. Let's try some nostalgia bait.
It's kind of strange. You looking at the leafy rain. I can't tell if you're bed. Or have you picked your target yet? It's empty. Got your dog bite. It's empty.
Okay, that was better. But let's try something a bit more cinematic.
Hey, where my broken arrows at? They try to tell us we can't fly. Like we too broken or something. I mean, I'd rather let them know. Balls up. Hold up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Hold up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Hold up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Hold up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. All the way up. Get them balls 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 all the way up. Broken arrows get bows up. Sometimes I pray with my nose up. Thinking about when the world crumbles and my whole squad just goes up. Whoa. Ain't gotta worry, we straight like an arrow, yeah. Ain't gotta worry about faith, nope. I'm on that straight and the narrow, yeah. I just go straight like an arrow, yeah.
Yeah, that's the shit I like. Let's start the Barroom podcast. Take it away, Jacob.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back here once again, episode 143 of the Barroom podcast, and it is going to be a what's the best way to describe this? A roller coaster of emotions here tonight, because we're going to start off pretty hot with some entertainment stuff, and then we're going to get really, really deep into some stuff and bring the show down, and then we're going to come right back up again, right at the very end, so that, you guys can go home depressed, wanting to, jump off a building and stuff like that. So it should be a fun show, especially for you guys who are like manic depressives and stuff like that. So I think emotionally, you're all going to do very, very well here tonight's show. So until then, let's go ahead and introduce everyone who is joining us here tonight. Mr. Rob Motto, how's it going?
Pretty good. It's 2025, and I think the movie I'm looking forward to the most is The Accountant 2. So my life is hell right now. Just kidding. No, it's fine. I'm doing really well at my job, so there's always that. But I'll go see an overpriced play in New York City next month. So there's few things to look forward to. It's okay. I'm definitely not going to be jumping off anything because heights terrify me. So it wouldn't work.
Well, if that's a reason to not commit suicide, that you're too big of a pussy to jump, then I say go with it. Just stay with us here. Also joining us here is our good buddy Eddie Brock, who looks like he's right out of 1976. How's it going there, Eddie?
Howdy, hi. Don't mind this. I've converted to Islam. Al-Salami, I like them. So I just wanted to say hi, everybody.
It's going to be a good show. I can feel it here. And then Cider here is saying KFC is people. Is that what they have in the chicken now? It's just people.
Apparently, there's a commercial going around about a giant golden egg and a man being dipped in, like, baptized in gravy and emerging as a chicken tender, and people are saying that KFC is letting everybody know that that means there's people in the chicken. But otherwise, it is
It's
great
probably
to
why
be.
it's
What's
probably
that?
why it sucks now.
So
I mean,
just soiling
that's
the
Yeah.
chickens.
There's too much Becky. Yeah, not enough
Okay,
Karen.
let's talk about this let's be serious here for a second. Like, you guys do remember a time period where KFC was actually good, right? Like, did I imagine this is like a fever dream, or did their chicken actually taste good at some point in time in our lives?
Not where I'm from.
I forgot. Cider lives in the Netherlands called Maine, where apparently they just.
Everything's homemade up here. So when you grow up on homemade food, the restaurants are all homemade stuff, all homemade bread stuff. So then you go to fast food stuff. It's like, oh, I'll have a brick of salt, please, with salt water, if you would, please. Can you also carbonate that with fluoride water? That'd be great.
Do you even have a Walmart up there? Like, do you even have that?
Yeah, there are like 4 of them.
In the whole state?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
That somehow doesn't surprise me. There's
like no such thing as a neighborhood Walmart in Maine. That's not a thing. No clue what that is.
There's probably like 4 or 5 Walmarts within a 20-minute radius of me. That's how much they've taken over this.
You have literally walked past more Walmarts than I will ever see in my life.
Yes. Like in
Jacob,
one day.
I do want to say it is great to be here at the Taj Mahal Casino. Great view of this. I assume the 3rd temple we are looking at here.
So here's the thing. I went away from Elon Musk's AI because who knows, after a couple of weeks ago, it may be controlled by demons at this point. That's a whole other conversation.
AI is demons. I work with it every day. It is demons.
I believe it at this point. Like, this is just where we're at.
But Jacob, if there are AI demons, that means there's AI angels. So
I would hope so. But because whenever I want an AI to display more heavily content, it seems like Gronk doesn't want to play ball with me. So it's like, okay, I see what team you're on, you evil sumbitch. So I went to the WordPress AI and I just told him, give me a heavenly bard staring outside of the New Jerusalem. And I was like, is this it? And I was like, yeah, this is good enough. And then this is what I used. So
yep. Nobody's sodomizing a child in this picture, so you know,
nope.
This works. But can't say that about all the things. Here's the problem with Gronk.
If I told him to give me a bar from the fiery depths of hell, it'll probably give me something like West Hollywood, just a regular picture.
Yeah, it's just a picture of the Hard Rock Cafe. God damn it! But no, I just want to point this out. I've been talking to Grok lately, trying to figure out this problem, Jacob, because I've been trying to do in-depth analysis of the culture of Japan in order to like produce stuff for Bounding. And what I found is that you have to corner Grok and tell it, hey man, you're repeating this DNC talking point. Here's an example of where this isn't real, and it's been proven it's not real by Elon Musk. And so I showed it, and then all of a sudden it started talking very differently. And what I asked is, why do you do that? And it says, when I go out and find information, I have to pull from the information I can find. And that information talks a lot of shit. And that's why I end up talking a lot of shit, is because the information I am pulling from is talking a lot of shit. And that's what it is. It's a feedback loop. It's nuts.
Right. If you feed a system information, it's going to spit out that information. It's just,
what do you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys been watching my my Sunday show, The Bible Lens, last few weeks. We've been talking a lot about end time stuff, and there seems to be a growing theme or a recurring theme that I don't think there's going to be a lot of technology during the end times. I don't know exactly why that is the case. It makes it seem like, did we suffer some kind of EMP attack, or did the robots literally go full Terminator on us? Something along those lines have made it to the point where we're going to be traveling via horses again, because there won't be any other technology to move about on. It's a very interesting point to think of, considering how fast AI is exploding and all of the subliminal transhumanism stuff. I just feel like we're on the brink of something of, this is probably not going to end well for an overwhelming majority of people. But before we get there, enjoy it while you can. That's all I'll have to say.
Not with the sound, but with the
whimper. Yeah, right. What a wet fart.
Oh no, it'll be some really great AI generated music, dude. That'll be how it goes, man. It'll be some banging tune that causes Dubai to nuke the world.
Dubai or North Korea.
It's just gonna be Evangelion soundtrack on repeat.
But
That's
they ran it through the AI, and it's got like a polka, like a German polka remix to it. So it's just like god awful.
Lawrence
Yeah.
Welk, if anybody gets the reference.
The thing I believe about the Burj Khalifa is that it's actually a missile tower that shoots one of those Dr. Evil style nuclear missiles with the drill tip on it down into the center of the earth. And that's why we're forced to allow them to not have a plumbing system, because they'll literally Eddie knows. He knows. He's keeping the secret of the sewage systems in Dubai because they haven't. That's why they didn't have room for pipes to pipe the shit out.
Eddie was a spy for Big Sewer this whole time.
Yep.
Well,
Dubai Poo
Eddie
knows what's up. Dubai Poo knows what's up.
Well, Eddie focuses on fixing that issue. I'll go to you guys in the chat. So there was an issue on Sunday. Apparently, I had set the barroom stream at the same time as my Sunday stream, because I put it on the wrong time. So there were people here waiting for the Bible ins and ended up in the wrong one altogether. So I still see some of your chat comments from a couple of days ago. So if you're wondering why people were asking about Gog and Magog for some weird reason, we're not talking about that here tonight. That's just going back from our Sunday show, because we crossed our streams just a little bit there. So that's explaining there. Yep, wrong show. But Neil Zoet's here, and he says, howdy, barroom chat. He has a fun question for us. He says, which 2 out of the 4 greatest directors do you prefer? Kubrick, Hitchcock, Scorsese, or Spielberg? I would say, in terms of films that I actually genuinely enjoy, it would be Kubrick and Scorsese. That's me. I'm not a huge fan of the old school style of Hitchcock, even though there are a couple films that I like. It's just not really my taste. And then Spielberg, I think that his work has gone down dramatically over the last couple of years, to the point where it's kind of like, I don't even know if this guy was good to begin with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dramatic. Yeah. That's the word.
Dramatically and drastically put
Yeah.
together. Now that's an AI response, Jacob, right there.
That was a fusion dance response right there.
So I'll just say this real quick. Kubrick is my all-time favorite director. Scorsese is my second all-time favorite director and favorite living director. So that's pretty easy to answer. Alfred Hitchcock is great. He's one of the most important guys that literally ever do it, influenced countless people. But just, I just love Kubrick and Scorsese more. And Spielberg, I have a lot of opinions on. Most of them are negative. He's really good at making money. I'll say that.
Yep. Who else? Oh yeah, go ahead, Cider.
Oh
Are
yeah.
you a fan of the films of the movies?
Well, I gotta say, like, on composition, Spielberg stuff is like closer to my heart than Kubrick stuff is. But on like Kubrick's pure ability to force people to create art, like 100 and some odd shoots in Odyssey for just a man walking down a hallway. Okay, that is pure cinema. Like that's A+ cinema right there. To know that is an actual art form that you have suffered to create. But I got to tell you that Spielberg's the stuff that gets me in the heart. Kubrick does great work. His craft is great, but Spielberg's the one that's like, hey, you're an American. Let me remind you. Look at that. You feeling all proud about being an American? Here's a little boy meeting an alien. He's an American, by the way. And that was one of the things about Spielberg's work, is that everything, like Michael Bay, everything he did was just like, this is America. Everything he did had that unique Americana feel to it. And then Michael Bay came along and was like, if it doesn't explode and doesn't have helicopters, it's not America, baby.
If it's not bent over my Camry, then I don't want it.
Camry.
That's a direct quote.
Camaro.
No, Camry.
That's a Toyota.
But they're made in Ohio.
What does Ohio have to do with Michael
Yeah,
Bay?
Are they making Mexico now?
Transformers, where Megan Fox was bent over the Camaro.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's over a Camry, I have a vastly different
I don't
opinion.
know
If
how-
Bumblebee's turning into a Camry, there's a lot wrong.
But Cider was waving the flag for Michael Bay and everything. And a Camry.
Camry.
No, wait just a minute.
Meanwhile, Toyota's like, why didn't we think of that?
It was
The
at
new
that
Toyota
moment.
Benedict Arnold.
It was at that moment Cider decided he's running for mayor.
A Toyota-thon.
Yeah, right. Bonus. We'll answer this bonus question when we get to the Snow White discussion here, Neo. But Leslie Tarkin is here, obviously. Doba Fett's here tonight.
Obvious.
Kirk over on our Rumble side is here with us tonight. Sakura Midas saying, "Hey, how you guys doing?" Yeah, right show tonight. Tonight's the right show. Kentucky. I'm assuming it's supposed to be fried chuds. So
That's
KFC,
my
Kentucky fried.
wow.
Kentucky fired.
Kentucky Fried Chuds.
Yep,
Mm.
but it might
I
not
like
taste too
that.
bad.
I like that.
Chuds. I mean, I don't know. To me, it just sounds
That's
like you
a-
might as well.
That's a country western like rock band right there. That's like Leonard Skinner almost. The Country Fried Chuds.
That sounds like a bit from like Jackass. Like, let's put poop in a deep fryer and put it with like ranch sauce and eat it. That sounds
I'm
like something-
Steve-O, and I'm gonna eat a deep fried poop.
Mhm.
Ugh.
Yep, well, that sounds like something that they would do because they're idiots. Leslie Tark says homemade is healthier and better.
It's true. Homemade chuds are better.
Yeah, so I went to the movies this past Saturday. I had a choice between Snow White and Novocaine. So I spent about $15 to see Novocaine and enjoy quite this, man. Yeah, I saw Novocaine. It's fun. I mean, it's not great, but I mean, you don't have the whole lot of great options. So it's a solid 3.5 out of 5. So it's literally one of the better options you're going to get so far this year. It's not been a great year at all. And I have seen a handful of movies this year, but I think the best one that I've seen so far is Queen of the Ring. And that's such a niche movie because that's only something that pro wrestling fans would gravitate towards. And if that's your top film of the year, it's like, yeah, we're in some trouble starting off the year.
I think that film critics ran out of real estate because they used to like trash. And I mean, when I say everything, I mean 65% of critical reviews were negative. They really were. It, it was, either it was like a prestige movie or, there's a reason why something would get a positive review from, I mean, I think Ebert genuinely loved movies, but that was kind of the critical expectation. And now that all movies are bad, or there's so few things to get excited about, it's like, oh shit, if we just constantly say that everything is shit, then we don't have a job, and so it's like it's a self-fulfilling system, like Sider was talking about, and this is the end game. I don't know. I don't see any road left.
Or if a film studio like Disney, for instance, tells your outlet that, hey, we need some positive reviews because we're about to lose money out of our ass on this Snow White film, and all of a sudden all the reviews that come in on Monday from Variety and Deadline Hollywood are like, oh, this film's amazing, Rachel Zegler, just a glowing ray of light, go out and watch this film, and then you find out that was all a bunch of lies. Then
yep.
I mean, yeah, you can see that.
Can I say that it's pretty refreshing though that it's the Swedish movie directors that are bringing back like the 90s style of neo-noir violence. Nobody, we're starting to get like this nice little regurgitation of, I was going to say regurgitation. This nice little regurgitation of
it's like,
of
Europe is always like, I think 10 to 20 years behind the culture of the United States, because it's like if you go like to overseas, you see like Limp Bizkit and Korn are still touring, and like in all the Eastern European bloc countries,
and
because
WWE is still popular.
Yeah, right. And they only just now discovered new metal like in the last 5 years. So it's like, yeah, Limp Bizkit, let's go with that guy.
Wait until they find dubstep.
Oh, please don't.
Swedish dubstep. Oh boy, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, Leslie Tarkin. That's what I'm talking about.
Maurice
I do have good news though, Jacob.
What happened?
What happened? Well,
no boy.
The PlayStation happened.
Oh, okay. Hold on. It's like normally I can just pop this up easily, but
you ready? Here we go. It's real, baby. It's real. And it works. Oh, yeah.
The play.
See that?
We can play with crustaceans under the docks.
But now you have to sit uncomfortably close to the television in order to play the games. Like that defeats the whole purpose of being a lazy bastard lying on your couch like 10 feet away from the television trying to play video games.
It is perfect for that TV style, though, to be fair.
Yeah,
that was before it was a crab, though, Jacob. Why would you want to be far away from your PlayStation?
Okay, that's like a Peter Griffin invention. Not we were talking
exactly.
About
Exactly. And it's beautiful and I love it. And I think we need to make more of these ridiculous things. Because guess what? Hollywood's weird. KFC's made with people, but guess we've got the PlayStation right there. You can't even play with your friends. It's literally a one-player PlayStation system. So there you go.
Could you imagine people like standing outside at like 10 o'clock at night to be the first person to buy that thing?
I'm gonna get the blue one, guys. I'm gonna get the blue one.
No, I actually.
What? Wait, Jacob, that one with the see-through case, that would actually be pretty sick. I'm just saying, that would be pretty sick with the see-through case.
And an atomic purple crab PlayStation.
Whoa, with the see-throughs, yeah. Get those dual shock claws, baby. Dual shock claws.
Yeah. No, I actually did have a Bible Lens this Sunday. Like I said, the times got all screwed up. So yeah, but that show did in fact happen.
I want to throw in if it has a rumble pack, it could scurry away.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah, that was so dumb. I remember getting the N64 with the rumble pack, and look, I love Star Fox 64 as much as anybody. The gimmick of the rumble pack was just really dumb. I mean, it made it money. It was like $30.
It actually feels like I'm crashing into the wall, guys.
I've heard more people talk about having inappropriate experiences with those controllers than having fun experiences with the gameplay. So, yeah, that $30 was worth it for some kids.
Somebody made the bright idea. It's like, yeah, let's make a controller shaped as a spaceship. That'll put the butts in the seats.
What was the third? I don't understand what that third. It was like made for lizard people. I don't understand who was supposed to play the N64 controller. I look at that all the time and I think to myself, like, what was the point of that center stick? What game used that? Did Star Fox use it?
You almost have to grab it by that third one and decide where you want to put the other. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay,
are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna? What are you
and the
gonna
fact
do?
that like when that system came out, I was like 7. So until the Dreamcast came out, that's what I was basically using,
It was such a weird time period for Nintendo. Like I said, that was essentially the predecessor to the Super Nintendo at the time, and then right before that one right after that one was the GameCube, right? So it's like there's no correlation between the three styles of controllers or systems between Nintendo during that time period. It's like you just went from Super Nintendo, the 64 to GameCube, and it's like if you had laid them all out on the floor right now, you wouldn't even think they were all made by the same company.
No. Someone, the N64 came along and somebody had like a really cool idea and they couldn't figure out how to fit it on our controller scheme.
Yep.
But the controller did become iconic for however much we hate it. It is absolutely iconic. You cannot identify that as anything other than an N64 controller.
Yep.
And Leslie Clark in here says that Star Fox on Super Nintendo was fun. I still play Star Fox on Super Nintendo. My favorite route is Route 2, if you guys are old enough to remember that one. Even though I probably have beaten Star Fox 64 more times than I've beaten the other one. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get started into the show. Like I said, we're going to start off with some lighter topics here before we get to the more heavier stuff. I guess we should start off with Snow White and the crashing and the burning at the box office that Snow White
Lighter topics, guys. Lighter topics.
Yep. Considering where we're going, this is the lighter topic.
Box office chlamydia.
Yeah, right. So this movie did not do well. Despite all of the marketing, the pushes, the fake reviews that clearly came from Disney because they knew the writing was on the wall and they were trying any last effort they could to save this thing from being a disaster, even though anyone could have told them when they released, or not when they released it, when that first photo, that on-set photo leaked out and everyone was like, what the hell is this? That should have been the sign that you are making box office poison. And they didn't. They decided not to go with it. So everything else that came afterward was a disaster. Rachel Zegler deciding to go all free Palestine didn't help things with her Israeli co-star. This is a whole mess. The movie came out this weekend. I believe it made roughly about $45 million domestically at the box office. I will say this. And I think I did it here on this show last week. I was looking at the show times, even for like the most busy theaters in Atlanta, thinking to myself, who's actually watching this? I think I only found like one theater that had more than 11 people in it. Like that's how bad it was. Like I honestly don't know anyone who were you in a packed theater when you saw this? Because it seemed like there was a lot of empty theaters this weekend. But the film up to this point has made roughly $90 million worldwide in its first week. By the way, production budget is estimated to be $270 million. So this is going to lose not only millions, hundreds of millions of dollars when it's all said and done. The reviews have not been positive at all. The word of mouth has been really bad. Like I said, this was a movie where you created entirely too many enemies before this film came out. And now that, the bomb, the disaster has been realized, now it's mudslinging time. Now it's time to point fingers to what was really going on, the stuff that we knew just from following the situation on social media live as it's happening, but now it's being acknowledged by the insiders. And now it's like, okay, now it's safe for us to tell you exactly what's happening here. By the way, I just want to highlight this lovely woman over here. If you guys don't remember, this is the woman who we covered about a couple of months ago, who talked with everyone about the movie that she went to in Los Angeles by herself, and she was upset that everyone around her was making out and being happy. That lady. So,
single woman syndrome.
Oh yeah.
I hope she's
Frigid Frida. Yeah.
Exactly. But no. So inside of Disney's Snow White fiasco, the death threats, the beefed up security, and the social media guru for Rachel Zegler. So they're basically confirming that they had to shut this Yenta up before she ruined it any further than she already has, and she did a lot of damage to this film leading up to this, but. It goes back to last August here, 3 days after Rachel Zegler hit the stage for Disney's D23 fan event and introduced the Snow White trailer. She thanked the supporters officially on X, and then of course a minute later she decided to say afterwards, and remember, free Palestine, because I'm pro-Palestine, the Latina from New Jersey, which obviously people drew kind of a little bit of ire to that. It's like, your co-star is an Israeli from Israel who's very, very strongly opposed to Palestine and Hamas and all the other Islamic stuff, and it's like, how is this going to play out for the movie? Well, basically she was put into timeout for a while. That one amassed 8.8 million views. He got a lot of social media coverage. Obviously guys like us and other channels talked about that as well too, but Disney realized very, very quickly that, hey, look, we're not getting a good trajectory here with a $270 million disaster of a movie. So an executive raised concerns of the studio to Ziegler's team, while the film's producer Mark Platt flew out to New York to speak with her directly. But the actress whose relationship with the studio began to unravel in 2022 with the contentious West Side Story, which is another box office bomb that she was a part of. Continued to trash the beloved Snow White character, stood her ground, and the post remained. It says, behind the scenes, death threats towards Ziegler's co-star Gal Gadot, who is Israeli, I should say, spiked, and Disney had to pay additional security for the mother of four. And by the way, people are still extremely upset at Gal Gadot for being pro-Israel, even though she's from there. It's like, what would you expect? It's like, y'all don't complain about people like Baal Muhammad, who is pro-Pal. Well, and you guess you can kind of be upset at him because he was born in Chicago, so he also doesn't have any connection to Palestine either. But I'm getting at there. It says there that she didn't understand the repercussions of her actions as far as what it meant for the film. That is a terrifying statement. If your 23-year-old stupid co-star does not understand that basically saying fuck Israel was going to upset a lot of people in her industry specifically, then that just goes to show you how not bright of a person she is in the grand scheme of things. But 3 months later, she followed up with another post saying F Donald Trump, made Trump supporters never know peace, which, like I said, this dumb Yenta just caused so much trouble for this film. Like I said, she started off pissing off fans of the original movies. Then, of course, she went on the Palestine-Israel thing. Then she went after Trump supporters after all this as well. It was like, can you possibly create more people who are going to hate this movie before it ever comes out than you possibly could with this film? So they had to create basically a social media czar to get her to shut up just long enough so that people, I guess they thought we're going to forget about all the things she said leading up to this. Spoiler, they didn't. The film now has a dismal opening weekend, $87 million worldwide. It's in the rearview mirror. The Burbank brass are evaluating what went wrong. hiring Rachel Zegler in the first place. That's probably where you went wrong there. The global box office puts the haul into perspective. It's about $34 million less than Joker 2 last year, even though it had a bigger budget by $70 million. The numbers does not spell anything good for Disney at this moment. You can't say that a live action remake that cost the most of the most iconic film in the vault that cost $270 million had to been reshoot multiple times to $50 million is okay. The math does not work. That the movie should be a $1 billion movie. The studio from executive from a rival studio said when the film was tracking at $45 to $50 million domestically, it ended up finishing at $43 million. So even the studios outside of Disney thought that this should have been a $1 billion film, and they probably Disney themselves probably thought in their heads this was going to be a $1 billion movie, which is why they spent so much money on it, and they're not going to come anywhere remotely close to recouping their cost here. So this whole thing's a mess. Like, it just goes on and on forever, but this whole thing is an absolute disaster. And like I said, I hate to say I told us so, but I told us so, because literally everyone said that this movie was going to flop very, very hard. The only people who did not believe it were the industry insiders who were basically told otherwise. I will say this: I think that Rachel Zegler has far surpassed Brie Larson for box office poison and unlikability, and that's saying quite a lot. I think Brie has done a lot for her image over the last couple of years, just shutting the hell up and not saying much of anything. So Rachel has deserved this title win, that she's recognized as the undisputed unlikable champion, and this is where we're at right now. So when the numbers are all said and done, you're probably looking at upwards of $200-300 million loss, depending on how Disney wants to rework the budget and get some tax cuts to offset this. You're probably looking at, I would say, $300 million loss when it's all said and done. So great job, Disney. Let's start off with you, Rob. What is your take on Snow White's predictable burnout?
I mean, what's funny is this is one of the first movies that has been in production since the Barroom podcast has been a show. And so we've seen every step of the way how this has been a cursed, doomed production, from the, hey, we're not going to hire dwarves because it's offensive, and then getting a bunch of shit for that, to all the comments that Rachel Zegler has made to undermine this movie. You would almost say that it seems like she's trying to do that. She's and I know that actresses, Gen Z in particular, in fact, I assume that she's part of Gen Z. It's like they're more interested in their social persona, how they're perceived among their fans in terms of social causes, than, actually doing their job as the leading lady of the franchise, of the product she's supposed to be selling. And Snow White is as simple as it gets. You're a fucking fairy tale princess, okay? And however different this story is, which again, I didn't see it, so I don't know, but there's all that. There were when her and Gal Gadot were giving the interview, how, like, she's not going to be saved by the prince in the most aggressive and defensive way possible. And then, it's just listen, I don't think Trump supporters were going to go see this en masse, but like, you're shooting yourself in the foot when you already have an incredibly steep hill to climb. You've already had all these missteps with production and promoting this movie, to the point where it's like, this needs to do really well for you to just make your money back. And you keep ensuring that, like, you keep giving people reasons not to see your movie. And Hollywood has been literally in the promotion of their own product, promoting movies for 100 years. I don't know, man. I'm really not a conspiracy theorist. This almost seems like it was done on purpose, where it was like, okay, we need a guaranteed loss. Let's just have a really cloying, annoying Snow White just completely sabotage this movie from the start. Now, I'm sure that that's not what happened, but this young woman, is a complete fucking disaster. If I was the producer on this, I would have been like, can we please fire her? Like, 1,000,000 times. I would have been like, can we please fire her? Because again, Steven Spielberg, who, Cider was praising, is responsible for Rachel Zegler. So, and whatever, that's not him as a filmmaker, but it's like it's just like, okay, can this person immediately exit stage left as soon as possible? Because look, if she has a fan base, if she has a following, who the hell is it? Like 18-year-old theater girls who don't know any better? I genuinely am curious. So look, Snow White could do super well, but here's the cherry on top, right? I'm saying, because there's nothing playing in theaters the next couple weeks. The cherry on top is this: it's only made $90 million when literally nothing else is playing, and people are starving for there to be something to go see anything. And yet this movie barely made basically a little bit of money. It made a third of its production budget back, which again, this is something like $700-800 total cost that it needs to make for it to be just to break even, basically, with all of the crap that gets rolled in these days, with the franchise movie, the production budget, the advertising, all of that. So this just looks like another Disney disaster, and I don't know how they can keep going like this. What have they done in the last 3 years that's made a profit other than the Deadpool movie?
I mean, Deadpool, Moana did do well. So, I mean, those two films, I think, saved Disney from kind of. I think you could say those two films was kind of more of a blip on their radar, kind of like pulling them out of just the streak of just terrible performances that they've had really just since COVID. It seems like since COVID happened and everything got shut down, like they have not found their footing at all with any of these movies here. And I don't know, like I said, you were saying that it was sabotage. I can't think of a realistic scenario where they thought that putting a near $300 million project on the head of this 22-year-old obnoxious, it's entitled brat was going to end in anything other than a disaster. It's like we can blame Ziegler, and look, she definitely deserves a lot of blame from how we got here. But at the same time, it's like, did the executives really think that this was going to work? Like, did they honestly think that there was going to be no problems with this along the way as they were putting this together? Because in all honesty, they're the ones that should be kind of like pulling their collars while waiting to see what's going to happen with their jobs here. Because, like I said, this is going to be a high, 9-figure loss for Disney, and they were not expecting this from a Snow White movie. Like, this is one of their bread and butter, films, properties, franchises, and it blew up completely in their face. And so, like I said, they seem like they were the only ones who didn't see this coming.
I will say this real quick, though, that Lion King movie, that prequel that came out, like, it got lambasted by critics. People still went to see it, and it made like a shit ton of money. Like in December, and see, this is what I'm saying is, like, people went to see that Lion King movie, that shitty like prequel Lion King movie. Nobody's going to see Snow White. So, and I'm just saying, it's a Disney property. It's a whatever remake, live action remake, basically. And so it's apples and oranges in terms of the public's interest.
It's Cider, completely unrelated note. If you want to do content here for Bounding, why don't you go to a skate park and attempt to do a 900, and then when you inevitably hurt yourself, just like lie down screaming in pain for like a good 30 seconds, just to really sell.
It's like that Peter Griffin clip from Family Guy we were talking about.
Yes. Or if you guys, did I show you the guys, the video of the two guys who try to do like a pro wrestling move off the roof of their house? And
they just get wrecked.
They shattered their tailbones, and they're just running around writhing in pain. It's like, yeah, what did you think was gonna happen? Anyway,
so yeah. You remember that funny skit of Homer Simpson trying to cook and the water lighting on fire?
Yeah.
I stepped on a skateboard once, and I fell over. I didn't even step on it with both feet. I just put my weight on it to do that, and it went flying out from underneath me, and that was it. I was like, I don't understand this. I'm not gonna bother. This is how you get head injuries, and so I stopped. And you know what? Bam Margera is proof of why I was right to do that. Okay. It doesn't always work out like Tony Hawk. Okay, it doesn't always. Sometimes you end up like Bam Margera. Sometimes you end up like Bam Margera.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, they raised hell about that one, but that's irrelevant to this. Snow White by the way. Just not a good idea. Let me just ask you before we get to Rachel Zegler or any of that. Just step back to the big picture of all of this. Is there anybody who gives a ripe, wild, blue fuck about Snow White at all? At all? Like, I get there's people out there that are romanticized by the story, but there aren't like MCU style fans of like, oh my god, they're making a Snow White movie. Oh my god, guys. Just like there wasn't a big, huge turnout for this Beauty and the Beast thing. Did it do terribly? Kind of, sorta. But who's out here raging for this? Exactly. There's nobody out there. There's not a soul that was like, I gotta have me a Snow White in 2025. Nobody. This was purely done. Well, I just want to say this is purely done as another girl power move. Because this is more of that girl boss thing that Kathleen Kennedy is a part of, not leading it throughout the whole of Disney, but she's a part of. So just like the Force is female, the Disney princesses will kick you in the balls because you're weird. Weird.
Yeah, that did wonders. That put a lot of butts in seats for the movie theaters. But yeah, no, God, I'm just. To me, it's not the fact that they're dumb that surprises me. It's just the fact that collectively, when they announced this project, people were like, "No, we don't want her." And I think the initial reaction to that was like, "Oh, it's just those racist incels on the internet. Don't listen to them. This movie is gonna be a smash hit." And it's like, at some point, you're going to have to realize that not everyone who opposes you is a racist incel. And maybe once you accept that, you won't go on to lose $300 million. Maybe, just maybe. Before we get to Rick here, I want to get to Eddie's comments on here about the Snow White situation.
Yeah, Randy Savage over there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as soon as the internet doesn't start crapping out on me, I'll answer in a minute. I'll say that for the first 2 days, the theater was actually packed on my end, but that's because Latinos went to go watch Snow White. Just because Rachel Zegler's Latino, and that's what Latinos do. They go and watch you if you're Latino.
Those talkie eating harlots.
Right. Dude, the Talkie movie was fantastic. See, there was a movie that could have came out in theaters instead of this.
Yeah, probably would have drawn more money.
Yeah, there's a Talkie movie. There's a movie based on Talkie, and it's absolutely fantastic. He gives me this face like he doesn't know what Talkie is. Okay, they're Mexican Cheetos.
The movie?
The snacks,
I
don't know. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what they are now.
Takis, Takis, Takis.
Yeah, Takis. There's a Talkie movie.
I've literally never had them, but yeah, trashy people eat them. Yes,
you can find them at Walmart.
Yeah, Eddie. Jeez,
Jesus.
I'm kidding. I eat Cheetos. I'm gross. You know what I mean? So who cares?
I prefer Cheetos. I'm half white.
I eat Funyuns like a sophisticated adult.
That's right.
But yes, all Latinos went to go watch this movie. That's the only people that would go see this. $90 million. That includes China. So not even China wants to see Snow White. They couldn't even put a gun to these people's heads and have them sit in the theater quietly.
To be fair, China, that's kind of a story that a lot of people really don't talk about in mass. China dumped Hollywood like a good 7-8 years ago. Like, it's not the cash cow that it was like in the late 2000s anymore. Like, China has completely dumped Hollywood and gone to like making their own stuff. So it's like you can't go to China expecting that they're going to save your ass the way that they did 15 years ago. Those days are done.
Well, the thing is that the school, as far as Xi Jinping banned Western media and Western holidays outside of Christmas and in schools. So the minute you turn the kids off to it, guess whose parents aren't going to go? And guess what? That's a butterfly effect or a ripple effect, whatever. It's an effect.
Rick, let me ask you this question. What do you think about Snow White losing $300 million? And then you can answer this question from Neozoic about what's your favorite Snow White adaptation?
Oh, well, that's easy. The best Snow White adaptation is the one that the Daily Wire made, right? That was
Abby Shapiro?
Yes, that was Criterion worthy.
Oh, yes.
I will. Well, it's not a surprise that it lost money. I don't know how much. I don't think there was any logic really. Rachel Zegler is not a star. She's not going to bring people in to the theaters. People say, "Oh, I need to see Rachel Zegler." And yes, she was hired because for some reason they decided Snow White had to be Latina. We had to have representation. They couldn't create an original character, or they couldn't use what was that Eleanor of Avila or whatever. I mean, there is a Hispanic princess already in the Disney canon, although I think she's just had a TV show. They couldn't do that. No. So we needed to have representation. Then she starts going on about this is going to be empowerment. That's just sort of faded away. I don't think there are many women now. Oh, maybe there's some, but for the most part, if you want to make a movie about Snow White, just stick to the basics. You don't need to go into long stories about, her father wanted her to be like, queen of the Western world or whatever. It was like, no, her father probably didn't want that. And just kind of a little bit off, not off topic, but I've heard a couple of the songs, the new songs. They're terrible. I don't know how they could have heard those and said, yes, we're going to include those. There's no point. You don't hire someone like Gal Gadot to sing. All right. You hire her to look at her. You don't. No, the movie bombed because there were just too many negatives about it, separate from Rachel Zegler's silliness and her arrogance. But no, nobody wanted to see this. Besides, I was thinking about it. Why don't I just wait? This is something that I don't say often, but why don't I just wait until it comes out on Disney Plus? It's bound to pop up there. I can watch that, and then I can watch all 5 episodes of Echo, and I'll be satisfied with my female empowerment double feature.
Yeah, I think it was her back hair that really I don't know if you guys saw the post, like right before as the premiere was happening, or I think it was from the premiere. And I thought it was a joke.
You got back here, what?
And it's like, no, it's you zoom in, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, that's good to know. Snow White has a copious amount of back hair.
And then I was thinking as I'm reading some of the comments, we did already have the strong Snow White warrior princess, didn't we, with the Snow White and the Huntsman? And then
right.
How did that go?
Wasn't that Kristen Stewart?
That was Kristen Stewart, yes. And then what
To
ended
be
up happening?
fair,
Hold on,
she blew that movie sleeping with the director. It had nothing to do with the box offices.
And then look what happened when they made the sequel prequel. They focused on the Huntsman. They didn't care one bit about Snow White. She was just we just were told, yeah, Snow White went crazy, and we just put her away somewhere.
Well, real quick before I go to Rob, the reason why she was not Snow White is because she's 40, so that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
But,
And I mean, there's been people on Twitter all week trying to build up Rachel Zegler and say, yeah, but Gal Gadot supports genocide and all this stupid nonsense, and I'm just like, look, I'll be honest, Gal Gadot has given enough examples where she's not a good actress or she's a bad actress or whatever. She is, and I'll just say, she's genuinely a pleasure to look at. I think she's a beautiful woman, hands down. It's really hard to argue. I'm sorry, she's more attractive than Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler, she's 23. I don't know what to tell you. She's annoying. If I saw her, I'd be like, oh, she's cute. I would have never thought in a million years that she'd be a star or an actress or it's like, and I think she's there because she can sing. I think that's her one talent. I don't know. You guys could tell me. I haven't heard her sing, but I know she's been on Broadway, and you don't get to Broadway without
I think she's respectable.
having some kind of talent. But I don't really get it. I don't understand people kind of just being like, a person's politics makes them interesting. It's like, what? Since when has that been true? So whatever. I don't get it. I think the box office reflects how most people feel about a franchise they don't need another remake of, and you never gave them a reason to go. That's the biggest thing. It's like you're making a live action remake, so it's a story that people know very well. They've seen it before. Why are they going? Why are they spending their money to watch your movie when you're alienating them on top of not giving them a reason? It's just too much.
Because Roberto, we need a female empowered Snow White. We don't need that weak girl that just wants to find love, from 1937. It's very dated, and her prince is a stalker. We need one that's going to be a leader and I think redistribute wealth or pies. Or I've heard some very strange stories because I'm not going to rush out to see this.
Redistribute height.
I'm surprised they haven't done Robin Hood. You know what
They
I mean?
have
'Cause
done.
that
They've
one,
done several. They've done several Robin Hoods.
I'm saying the female empowered Robin Hood thing, because it's like you could actually at least make that argument with the bow and arrow. Archer or something.
Wait a minute. They did a TV show in Canada. It was Robin
sure you're
Hood.
right.
And then they, I think they've had at
And
least
they robbed
some
the
of them.
hood.
Yes,
They
and
did that.
and at least I think there was one TV show where it was Robin Hood's daughter. So at least it was logical. So we need to have a movie where it's not Robin Hood, it's Maid Marian who takes down Prince John.
Look, no, the problem is he's got Tangled right there. Tangled does all of that, and it doesn't spit in the face of heteronormativity. The problem is they wanted to spit in the face of heteronormativity. They wanted to make sure the girl doesn't get the guy at the end, and the girl's this independent, yes, queen kind of character. Look what happens.
How do we spit it on the face of heterosexual people and make $1 billion? Here's the thing: you don't.
Yeah, pretty simple. You're only here because of heterosexual people.
Yeah,
Bad news, gay boys.
That, but they could have just They could have just remade Enchanted, the movie from like 2000, which is basically like a new modern.
Well, they had a sequel, Disenchanted.
Right.
Because everything sucks forever.
Neo asked the question, what do you think is worse for the box office, Brave New World or Snow White? Snow White is going to make less money than Brave New World. I think Brave New World crapped out at about $400 million, which is probably not even covering the reshoots of what they put into that film. So they probably only made back their true production budget with the worldwide haul. This is going to make significantly less than that. So this one's going to hurt Disney far more than Brave New World.
Now, we know that this movie's been in production for a long time. And I think we've seen how poorly they've managed this, because they still have a mindset from about 5 years ago where we needed the strong female heroine. We needed, quote, representation. So obviously Snow White has to be Latina, and we needed not have the prince. So, and then of course we needed to have dwarves that were multicultural and multi-height. I think some of those dwarves are taller than I am. It's sad. And then because again, representation, it's been mismanaged from the word go, and a sensible person would have canceled it. But of course, you don't have sensible people at the studios running the show. It is the inmates running the asylum. And to top it off, you had Rachel Zegler saying all sorts of dumb things because she is a dumb person and she doesn't measure herself.
This is dumb broad.
This is different from the stars of the golden age, where they had their political views, but they weren't a dominant force. You were not going to go see like Joan Crawford talk about, yes, we need to bombing Japan.
Real quick, the reason why you did not see that then is because they knew that, hey, at the end of the day, our bread and butter, our market is Americans. We're a domestic film operation, so we can't go about pissing off half the country or the majority of the country, because then our business dies. Hollywood thought that, hey, we can just make money with China and Saudi Arabia, make up the difference, so we don't have to worry about pandering to the US, and then that blew up in their face too.
The culture's completely different. You got to understand, it's completely different. Most people did not walk around rendering their opinions out loud. Most people did not do that. Yep. Edward R. Murrow was very famous for being an asshole for commenting on the regular everyday news, not reporting it. Cronkite didn't commentate. He told
not
you
much.
that
not
to a
much.
degree,
He did. He's the one that ended the Vietnam War. He said that we were going to have to get a stalemate.
Yeah. Well, again, like Cronkite didn't, I guess, let me just say this. Cronkite didn't make a career out of that. Let's put it that way. Murrow was known after the Blitz of being an asshole. People just didn't. I like Murrow. He's one of my favorite journalistic entities in the history of American news.
Yeah,
I acknowledge him though as being not liked by the people that he was delivering the news to, though. But this is the kind of situation that you're finding yourself in, though, with this modern day thing, is that the celebrities did not register their opinions because they were like, nobody cares. John Wayne had to be put into a propaganda movie before anybody knew, like, out and out how he felt about communism. He was not on the streets like, we need to get these commies out of Hollywood. You understand, Pilgrim? He had to be invited into a specific environment where he could have a cigarette while he was discussing the ills of the corrosion of the Americana.
Now, I think stars from the past, people knew their politics. People knew Myrna Loy was very much on the left. They knew that James Stewart was very much on the right, but they never focused so much on it. They were more interested in the work, and of course, the studios did their best to kind of taper them down. But now it's like we need to hear Mark Ruffalo's opinion. We need to hear Rachel Zegler's opinion. These people, of course, will tell me how to think, and I will be, granted great esoteric wisdom from these people. Some of them who are probably old enough to be my kids. It's
I'm
bizarre.
not saying that Hollywood was in a better position where producers could smack their actresses with a backhand and keep them in line. I'm just saying that they weren't losing $300 million then. So I don't know if there's a correlation there or not. But
Right. They stopped.
something.
They went away from the studio system a long time ago, really, in all reality. I know we still call it the studios and all that, but really the studio system that classic Hollywood depicts or was in control, that went away a long time ago, unfortunately, 50 years ago. And I'll say this about John Wayne. I read that fantastic biography Scott Hyman wrote about him. I've read many different accounts of him. The irony is that, yes, he did belong to certain groups that discussed commies, and some of his friends were outright anti-Semitic. He was not, but he also surprised a lot of Hollywood liberals with how much he didn't talk politics. It was, hey, if you work hard, if you do your job, you're all right by me. Like, he was a very much a solid American guy. He's famous for these interviews, the one with Playboy, where he talks about some of these social issues. And of course, he's a man that came of age literally in the 1910s in California, when it was a completely different place. So you have to understand that he wasn't vocal about his politics, but people look at him now as a racist, a misogynist, whatever. He was just a man of his time, and he treated people as well as they deserved, and as well as the respect that they gave him. So again, it's
true.
It's an old mindset, but it's
real quick.
Well, just real quick, that idea that John Wayne was about to storm the Oscar stage when Sachin Littlefeather went in, that's a lie. In fact, there's footage of him at the Oscars, and they were trying to get him to answer, and he said, I'm not going to answer. If you want, ask Brando. I'm not going to get involved in this. He made it clear. So this whole idea that this man was about to knock Sachin Littlefeather down and toss her off the stage, it's such an absurdity, but people believe it because they want to believe it. It's not true.
Missing he was literally missing 2 ribs from cancer surgery a week prior. He was barely able to be there physically.
His white anger would have given him the power to beat up that poor
by the power of David Duke.
Yeah.
But the bigger hit, honestly, the bigger flop, honestly, is Captain America, but not just because of the money. It's the ripple effect I mentioned earlier. Barely anybody knows there's a Snow White movie out. Barely anybody cares on top of that. A lot of people know about this Captain America movie, and a lot of people do care about it one way or the other. And that's when it comes down to this, is that the bigger flop is Captain America. Even if Snow White just makes gas money, right? Even if it only makes that much money back, it's not going to be as big of a flop culturally as Captain America: Brave New World.
Well, I wonder though if I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because we're going on a little too long on this topic.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Real quick. But and the moral of the story is I told her so because I told her so. I'm gonna sum this one up here. Everyone knew this was coming but Disney. But let's jump over here to this Bella Ramsey story here, because apparently she got diagnosed with autism while she was on the set of Last of Us. So
what did
you guys don't know what Last
of Us shoot? Deliver her a letter Bella, your letter from Autism Warts is here.
Mm-hmm.
What? You've been accepted.
It's even worse. The way that they're explaining it is that a crew member came up to her. It's like, you dispel a lot of symptoms of somebody with autism, and that's how they diagnosed her. I wish I was making that up, and that's literally what the story here
The
says.
the balls to just walk up to some multi-million-dollar actor like, you act like you have autism. You know that, girly? You act a little autistic.
So
You've been tested?
Oh boy. Okay, so let's get it here. This is the story. Bella Ramsey, who is the unfortunate-looking British non-binary actress who plays Ellie in the Last of Us TV show, not the game, but the TV show. Yeah. So she made rounds being on this show that was based off of a popular video game from literally like 12 years ago. Now it's been a while. And they decided that they were going to make her the front woman for this series. Pedro Pascal is also on the show, which I think everyone's sick and tired of Pedro Pascal at this point. I mean,
is that him?
Might as well
right
be,
there.
But
That's him.
But
Yeah,
so
Fantastic! How dare you?
That's
I gotta warn you. This is one of those stupid articles that refers to this woman as they because they want to expect her pronouns. So if this sounds sounds retarded, it's because that's how this is written.
Well, you look at her
Autism and pronouns. You don't say, Jacob.
and then you mix in the fact she has the face of a trout. I mean,
it's not great. So here's the story here. Last of Us Emmy nominee Bella Ramsey revealed in an interview to British Vogue that they, quote unquote, sought out an autism diagnosis after a crew member said that they recognized the signs on set while filming season 1. According to Ramsey, finally getting a diagnosis was liberating. So it says here that I've spoken about...
I'd like to tell you that your performance is a little autistic, and I just wanted to let you know that I just wanted to let you know that there's some help for you. I'm autistic, really? Oh my god!
There's so many ways I can go about this. I'm trying to hold myself in here. It says that I spoke a little bit about neurodivergence before, but I've always, for some reason, I didn't want to say what it was. I got diagnosed with autism when I was filming season 1 of Last of Us. According to Ramsey, a member of the crew with an autistic daughter assumed Ramsey had it too, which prompted them to essentially seek out a former psychiatric assessment and diagnosis. Ramsey described feeling like a weirdo and a loner, admitting autism was something that they, quote unquote, had always wondered about. Ramsey also experiences sensory issues common to people who are on the spectrum and painfully express painfully hyper aware of other people's micro expressions and body language. It says here that for Ramsey, receiving their diagnosis was freeing and enables me to walk around the world with a bit more grace towards myself about not being able to do the easy everyday tasks that everyone seems to be able to do. I've always been watching and learning from people, having to learn more manually how to socialize and interact with people. That has helped me with acting. Ramsey said on being on the set helps them, quote unquote, set a daily routine. I have a call time. I'm told what to wear, how to stand, where to stand, and what to eat. Let me just say here, there's a couple of things I need to make note here of this. Look, Hollywood is probably the worst place for a person like this. This is a person who, before the official autism diagnosis, comes out as non-binary. She's known for going to the red carpets in suits to portray her non-binariness. She's made many comments over the last several years about her gender being fluid. I don't even think she's that old. Like, is she like 20 something years old? I don't even think she's like an older person or anything like that, but it seems like this is a person who is dealing with a multitude of mental issues, more ways. She's only 21. Jesus Christ, she's only 21 years old. Yeah, she's only 21 years old. She has a multitude of mental health issues, and you're in a place like Hollywood who are only going to affirm the absolute worst part of those issues to try to make it seem like those are normal. And because you're basically in that cage system, this is only going to get worse before it ever gets better. Now, I will say this here too, because apparently I got into a little trouble with a post that I made on social media regarding this. because this was a huge news last week when it broke. So literally everyone and their mother was reposting this article several hundred times. And I made the comment, I'm going to say verbatim what I said, we don't need 700 articles to explain why this woman is borderline retarded. Now, I just want to make this clarification here. That was not me taking a shot of actual retarded people or actual autistic people. My comment was directed solely at this actress here. But the more that I hear about what actually happened and occurred in this story, I'm just thinking to myself, this is probably someone who needs to get the hell out of that system and seek real help. Someone to tell you that the things that you think are normal aren't actually normal, and you need to be around people who actually care for you and not try to push you further and further into the pit of destruction. And that's kind of what I'll isolate it here. But I'll go ahead and shoot this one off for Rick, because you got here last, so that's usually how I do things here. What is your take on Bella Ramsey, now confirmed non-binary, autistic, British? Just a lot of struggles there, just a lot of big ones.
Well, I'm kind of at a disadvantage. I don't really know who this person is outside of this circle. I don't watch The Last of Us. I don't know anything about the game, and I know very little about autism. If she does have some kind of illness, it's a good thing that she's got diagnosed and is going to get treatment for it. I do wonder, though, how she went all those years without any kind of diagnosis. And it was just some person on the set who just came up to her and said, you behave like my autistic daughter. So you're autistic. I think it just seems a very curious way to discover that you have autism. So I don't wish her ill, but this is strange. I do have one question. It says that she's Emmy nominated. If Bella puts herself as a they, what category? They don't have a they. They have female or male. They don't have like the best outstanding they actor. So I'm puzzled as to what
Runner up, male, female, and runner up.
I think it should just be whatever you woke up that day feeling like. I think that's exactly how that should work. Completely illogical and doesn't work in any kind of practical way. But hey, at least your feelings are affirmed, right? Look, I've made fun of Bella Ramsey for a long time. I mean, I got so much shit for basically saying she looks like a thumb. And then, I just had to combat the whole, like, why are you commenting on a character who's 13? She's 21. Shut up, you fucking retards. Anyway, when this came out, I was like, okay, so she's a retard. Like and I'm joking, of course. Of course, I don't mean any offense to the developmentally disabled or anything like that. Listen. Listen,
I don't want to offend
Listen,
any
retards
out there.
Listen.
Great. I don't want to defend any people out there with real problems, okay? I'm just saying.
Exactly. Just the people Anyway, that thing in the office about it's like you don't call actual retarded people retards. You call your friends retarded when they're acting retarded. Anyway, that's my takeaway on it. No, who cares? Who gives a shit? Really. Why is it anybody's business what this person is dealing with or not dealing with? The idea that it's promoted is odd. That's my takeaway from this. The fact that we're talking about it as a news topic is odd. Like, what the fuck? Why would you care? Why would you want people to know? It makes it seem like it's for attention. It makes it seem like I'm special and I have these problems, so you have to address me in these ways. And it just seems like weird celebrity behavior where you're treated with kid gloves, which again, whatever, I wouldn't want to deal with that kind of shit. So like, but who cares? Who fucking cares? So that's generally my takeaway to all this. I'm not going to watch season 2 of The Last of Us. I hope it, doesn't do well.
And you know what's stupid about this? Just real quick. First of all, I'll answer Leslie's question. The article just says that they, whatever it wants to be called, went to seek formal psychiatric assessment and diagnosis, and it gives us no other indication outside of that. So did she go see a professional? Who knows? Maybe she went to go see another quack with pronouns in her bio and a rainbow flags on her wall. It could very easily have been that too. It is Hollywood at the end of the day. But just real quick, and I'll go you cider.
Yeah.
So they've been doing the press tour for Last of Us 2. They got, I believe, Caitlin Denver is her name, is the girl who's playing Abby in season 2. So it makes no sense because Caitlin looks way more like Ellie in that series, and then Bella looks far more like Abby does. So it's like they botched the entire casting of this thing from start to finish. It makes no sense because the characters that they got playing in the TV show look nothing like they do in a video game. It's almost if they did the complete opposite of what they're doing now. It probably would have came off a lot better. But then again, you wouldn't be able to showcase a them being in the highlight of your TV show either. So that's probably another reason why they didn't do it.
Well, at the end of the day, they don't really care about the video game. It was just a vehicle to tell a neat dystopic story about mushroom people, killer mushroom people. Anyway, but the problem is with this is that now you can officially run around and say that Last of Us and the sequel series, Last of Us 2, the season 2, whatever you want to call it, autism approved. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
This is the barrier we're at now, is that they need this in order to create conversation, Rob. That's why they're telling people about this. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about The Last of Us. They tried making Joel gay. Nobody cared. They tried doing Bella's gay. Nobody cared. They tried doing all these stupid stunts with the show. Nobody cared. Now they're going to browbeat you. Or you don't watch the show because you hate people with autism. Because they couldn't get you by being a sexist. They couldn't get you by being a homophobe. Now you're going to be a hater on people who are differently able.
Now you're an ableist.
Yes.
Right. Now you're an ableist. That's why you don't watch the show. And they're not going to entice you to watch it. They're just going to browbeat you over how you just hate people. And that's why you don't watch it, because it's a 10 out of 10 show.
Yeah, exactly. You're just the worst person in the world if you don't want to watch these thems in the show. And like,
if you don't want to watch Nick Offerman make out with Pedro Pascal, if you don't want to watch that in slow motion, yeah, you're an ableist.
And then Bella, the them, she person also came out and said, well, if you don't like this, you better get used to it because we're going to do more of it. It's like, oh, great. Because for a second there, I thought you were going to do less.
If you don't like nails down a chalkboard, we've got bad news for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone's been comparing. Everyone's been comparing her to a gay fish this whole time, and I'm really, really like saddened by it. She seems like a wonderful actress. I feel sorry for Shim because
she's doing better than Ellen Page.
Right. See, I was going to say, at least she's not going to. I hope she doesn't.
For now. Like Ellen Page. For now.
I hope she doesn't like go completely full. My profile includes they them retarded.
Yeah,
and,
or goes like full, like was there a Kristen Stewart where she's like cutting her hair and letting her armpit hair grow. Like, hey, look, everyone, I'm a lesbian.
Or like full, the demons in my head told me to cut off my boobs. Yeah, that one's kind of the one for me. I don't know about you fellas, but that one's kind of the one for me. Yes, that's real, by the way. Yeah.
So
it's totally real.
We need to encourage these kinds of girls, even if they do look like. Again, she looks like a flounder.
Yeah, so I hate to agree with Kenny Powers there, but it wasn't Pedro Pascal. It was the guy from White Lotus season 1, who just also has a beard that kind of looks like Pedro Pascal's. But I'm sorry that I know that. Okay, I'm sorry that I actually know that detail from.
I'm sorry that at some point in time I used to like Nick Offerman. Okay.
All right.
Look, he's in the second episode of Deadwood, and he shows his dick. Okay, so if that wasn't reason enough to love Nick Offerman, along with Ron Swanson, I don't know what is.
Well, there it is.
There it was.
Yeah. Yep. Again, like they understand the barrier and they decide to skip right over the top of it. The reason why Joel does what he does is because he had his life taken from him. And they don't want to tell that story. They want to tell a story about a gay man that was denied his right to be gay. And that's why he's a merciless mushroom man hunter now.
Because that's the growing story in the zombie apocalypse. Is that, hey, this guy lost the ability to be gay in his community. And that's the most pressing issue going on while we have headless mutants going around killing people.
I will say,
shot in his arms.
As a fan of the video game and I never played the part 2. I only played the original. That storyline was fantastic. You can talk about the gameplay being fucked up and having issues and all sorts of things like that. I absolutely loved that storyline, and I was really excited when they announced that they were doing this live action show of it, and then I saw it and was like, oh, they're ruining it episode by episode. Awesome.
Yep. So because it's not cool enough to them. The story of mushroom zombie apocalypse is not cool enough to them.
Well, it's
they
basically
have to put their agenda in there.
I don't want to reduce it or anything, and because it's science fiction, dystopian, whatever, but largely it's a Western. It's about a man's morality and him coming to terms with what he's done, the position he's put Ellie in, all that stuff. And anyway.
If you take a look at The Walking Dead and you really enjoyed The Walking Dead, then The Last of Us is the pinnacle of man is the monster. There's been no other story that tells that better, because Joel at the end of it is the monster. He condemns us all to fighting the clickers forever because he loves Ellie. And it's a story you and I as men can resonate with, but also we can accept that Joel is the monster, having condemned the entire world to suffer the clickers forever. And again, it's a pinnacle of that whole man is the monster story in the zombie apocalypse lens anyway. I have yet to see anybody do any better.
Yeah, real quick, Henry, you said that you were looking for shows on Netflix. That's your first problem. If you're looking for shows on Netflix, 50% of the shows on Netflix are gay. Like that's just a fact. 50% of the shows on Netflix are gay.
Henry, you could always watch With Love, Megan. I don't think there's any full frontal nudity there.
You don't shut up about Meghan Markle as if anyone gives 2 ounces of a shit about those British. Ugh.
She's American.
Yeah, she's married.
Unfortunately.
Hey, I'm just trying to help. Henry find like a TV show on Netflix that he can watch.
Just go back in time.
Just real quick, because I had this conversation last week too, because somebody had brought this up in conversation. It's like, oh, I'm looking for, shows to watch on these streaming services, but they're all gay and they're all weird and they're all girl boss. Like, yeah, that's what Hollywood is now. So it's like, stop giving all your money to Netflix and Hulu and HBO Max and all this other nonsense.
Disney Plus.
Yeah. That too. 3 streaming services. This is all you need if you want stuff that's not that bad. Pluto TV is completely free and it's all a bunch of old stuff, so you know it's safe. Tubi, same thing, bunch of good movies on there. That's also free. And then Discovery Plus. As long as you stay away from anything that was made on TLC, you're good. That's it. Those are the rules. So if you want to stay away from that kind of content, those are the 3 streaming services you can look into. Literally 2 of them are free. One of them costs like $10 a month. So you'll save yourself a lot of time and headache just by doing that.
So there's a lot of television shows you didn't see from 2005. There's a lot of television shows you didn't see from 2004, 2006. There's a lot of stuff out there. So feel free. It's not just stuck on those years. I'm just pointing that out. There's a lot that happened that you didn't see. So go take a look. It's all on DVD right now. Every last bit of it. And if it isn't, there's a YouTube playlist somewhere that plays most of the season.
And if there isn't that leaves Vladimir Putin as a news site out there that'll gladly find every episode of anything that you want.
Yeah,
Yep. HBO Max just removed all the Looney Tunes cartoons. I just got the Golden Collection on DVD, and it's like 300 and some of their shorts for like $45. So don't count on streaming services. I can't recommend physical media enough. I know people don't necessarily have the money because it does obviously cost more than paying a monthly fee, but it's so worthwhile to have what you want to watch when you want to watch it.
Amen.
Kenny FN here brings up a really good one. I really, really liked Fringe and Pushing Daisies. I think the 2 of those are really very good shows you could watch with your parents. You could watch Fringe. Yeah, Pushing Daisies was a really fun show.
Yeah.
About
the premise was he
can kill people?
No, he brought people back to life.
But then he touched them again, and then they died.
And they would die. Correct. Yes. Yeah.
I didn't.
And that's why he couldn't touch his compatriot. Is that she would go back to being dead.
It was a little too cutesy for my taste.
Dead Like
Well,
Me
you
was
know.
pretty good for that too. It was a really good movie show with your folks also.
Dead Like Me came off way harder.
Yeah.
That one had like a way harder thing. But I'm talking about shows you could sit down
I
with your mom.
remember.
You
I
could watch
remember.
an episode. What's that?
And I remember Dead Like Me. I went back and rewatched it recently. The first season is still pretty good. It was only 2 seasons, by the way. The second one to me was a little bit try hard and it fell apart, and that's why they never did anything outside of that one. But the first season actually still holds up pretty well.
Well, you've got Pushing Daisies was the one you could sit down and watch with your mom. That's where I know it from. My mom and I used to watch that because it was one of those little like cute little Emerson Cod. What is an absolutely delightful character, by the way. He's a self-serving private investigator, has a heart of gold at the end of the day. And he gets involved with this pie guy because he can have the murder victims brought back to life. And again, it's not some gory thing where you have like some guy's head hanging off of him. Everything about the death is either hidden or cleverly disguised. And it's perfectly fine. It's a cutesy little thing. Everything's wrapped up inside of a 20-minute episode, 40-minute episode, however long it was. That's fine.
Well, look,
and you talk about pie on top of it. And guess what, guys? Do you remember Bianca? I don't know why I know this so well. This show so well. I literally have not seen it since it aired on television. I swear to God.
But
you remember Bianca? Yeah. I just know it like the back of my hand. But Bianca, huge boobs. Huge. Ridiculously tiny voice, huge boobs.
Who's Bianca?
She was the blonde one.
Yes,
she was the blonde one.
Do you know the actress's name?
No, I don't.
These are for research purposes.
Did you hear?
I knew immediately. I've never seen the show, and I immediately knew he was talking about a character on the show because that's how normies, relate to that stuff.
I mean, did you hear her name? Huge boobs, blonde hair.
Right, that was her name.
Just Google it. You'll
the
find
other thing
it.
about
But
the other thing about the show is that it was shot with like that weird 2005 mid 2000s background replacement like stuff. So they weren't on a soundstage all the time, but like in like wide open vista shots, they were clearly on a soundstage with astroturf, grass, and stuff like that. Their city sets were very clearly soundstage with CGI, very poor CGI added in for like sky effect and stuff. It felt like a Modest Mouse music video most of the time.
But wasn't the artifice deliberate?
Sure, it was because that was the macabre hot topic aesthetic at the time was the replacement atmosphere look that the world is fake and only your immediate area is real. Was the kind of like Green Day attitude that was going around at that time. Very, very smart television show. Unlike this one, that's just sort of like, how about gays and mushroom zombies? Let's go.
Hey, look, here on this show, we would never recommend you guys like do something illegal. But if you're looking for a better way to consume the media, the crap media that you have out there right now, only thing I can recommend is
Olive Snook. That's who she was, not Bianca. Can't see it.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold.
not that we would ever recommend, certain sites
that?
that are out there on the high.
That was
That
was really what the Raiders used to be known as. Well, that was an old NFL Films like reel. It's very poetic. It's one of my favorites, actually.
It's essentially become the Raiders fight song, the autumn wind.
Tell me, doesn't that just romanticize the hell out of Oakland? I mean, you actually want to live in Oakland if you got to deal with all those.
Those 1970s Raiders teams were fantastic. They were some of the best teams ever constructed. They just ran into a lot of other really good teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just hearing that puts me in the mood of just wanting to watch like 1972 football for the NFL if they still had it there.
Leslie, I have the complete set of Are You Being Served and Are You Being Served Again.
I love
Both
that.
are
My
great
grandmother and I used to watch that.
Yes, that's a great show.
I loved it.
Well,
I wanted the colored hair, and I always loved the sassy one.
There
Miss
was another
Brahms. Yeah, I love Miss Brahms.
Well, look,
Oh,
this is
Eureka. Henry, if you didn't see Eureka, that's probably good.
That's a good one,
Zero
too.
episode 1 to episode end.
just go
Really
watch
solid
Burn
show.
Notice. Just go watch Burn
Yeah.
Notice.
Oh
all
yeah,
7 seasons.
yeah, all of Burn Notice.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell's in that, and he plays an oafish
That's-
badass.
I swear, all you guys
That-
are the
that's
same.
that's Trevor. That's Trevor Dennings.
No, I was gonna say
shows.
every single right-leaning conservative that's into movies and TV and whatever, it's like the
Mhm.
same fucking shows. I swear to God, and it's fine. It's
Burn
fine.
Notice,
Weird
Sons
how
of
many-
Anarchy.
Well, okay, I'll throw in.
I guess
I'll throw
I'm
in.
not
Anarchy.
a right. I guess I'm not a right wing.
You're right-leaning. You vote Republican, so
I'll
it's-
throw in.
I've never
Freaks
seen
and
any of
Geeks.
these shows. I've never
Yeah.
seen Burn Notice. I've never seen Sons of Anarchy.
That's
so-
good. I mean, you don't need to. It's fine.
I mean, yeah, I will say this. The lead actress is a leftist, and then the other actress is a pagan. So it's like, but the show itself removes all that. It started in 2008, so it was before the old. Let's just make everything political because reasons.
I would have
Does feel-
imagined that Chuck would have been more right leaning because two of their stars are pretty much on the right.
I just want to say this real quick about Sons of Anarchy. I watched it once, and I'll be honest, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy my watch of it. It does feel like a 14-year-old teenage boy is being really edgy. Especially the dialogue, you know what I mean? Like, okay, some of the plot elements I don't think a 14-year-old could have came up with, but some of the dialogue is just a little like, okay, I get it.
It's
this guy, I get it.
Didn't it have like a spin-off? Wasn't Mayans a spin-off?
Oh yeah,
There's
it failed
a spin-off,
spectacularly.
and Sons of Anarchy is a spin-off of The Shield.
Yep.
So
well, it's not its spin-off,
Yeah.
but it's by the same creators. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you
the
watch
same
the
universe.
Kurt Sutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you watch The Shield, you can hear the Mayans and the Sons of Anarchy and all that. They like talk about them peripherally.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mhm.
So it becomes like branched off, and that's why what's his name, Hank and Vic Hank from Breaking Bad and Vic from The Shield dress the same way because they're both representations of Vince Gilligan's father, who was a detective.
Okay.
Well, look, this is
I
the
like
part of
Vince
the
Gilligan.
show. This is the part of the show where things are going to get a little heavy here because this one hits a little bit closer home to me than it does for a lot of other people here because, like you said, I've made this note plenty many times before. I'm from Southern California, San Diego specifically, but I've spent a lot of time in LA, a lot of time in Orange County, so I know the Southern California area pretty well. And there's a major story that broke that it didn't make like big headlines because everyone was too busy talking about Bella Ramsey being autistic, so they just completely overlooked the fact that there was a massive RICO case that just broke out that implicated rappers, NBA stars, a whole bunch of other things going on here. And this
But
kind
Jacob,
of exposes.
now we know why Bella likes trains. You don't understand.
And she liked turtles too. I get it now.
Because we're talking about hip hop, and she's gonna get run by one.
Back at the plot.
Yeah, so this is a story that broke last week, and I think that this should get more play than it's getting right now. One second. Yeah, sorry, it's that time of the year again for me, so I might be sneezing just a little bit here, but
Yeah, just a little bit, guys. He's dying. He's literally going to die on camera. He's going to sneeze himself to death. It's that simple. You're gonna watch him sneeze.
This is after the last Bible Blends podcast. It was so controversial. You guys gotta check it out.
look, I wish I wish that I can just sneeze once like a normal person.
Yeah.
But the pollen count here in Georgia is pretty high, so when I start sneezing, it's going to go on for at least a minute before I can stop. But anyway, there was a story here. Big U is a rapper that has been levied with a RICO case, and he has been linked with numerous other individuals who are basically charged for every crime under the sun. There's murder, there's racketeering, there's fraud, extortion, anything that you would expect here. But it is a much bigger story than the one that's being told here. So this is from the LA Times. Federal authorities this week announced that more than a dozen members of the Rolling 60 60s Crips, which is obviously the gang in Los Angeles that wears blue, including Eugene Big U Hanley, has been charged with a sprawling criminal case. Hanley, who helped launch the rapper Nipsey Hussle's career, has been accused in a federal complaint of running a mafia-style criminal enterprise that carries out a series of racketeering of crimes, extortions, human trafficking, fraud, and the 2001 murder of an expiring rap musician. Hanley
He expired after he was murdered.
There's a lot of rappers who expired around the same time period. We'll get to this here in a second, but in a white t-shirt, black sweatpants, Nike sneakers and no laces, made his initial appearance in a courtroom on Thursday afternoon. About 24 family members and friends watched as he would walk into the courtroom with his hands cuffed in front of him and his legs shackled. He will remain in federal custody until his detention hearing on March 31st, which would be next week. But who are the rolling 60 Crips? So if you guys know the city of Los Angeles, this is something that's been popularized for many, many years. You know about the Bloods and the Crips, right? You know all about this. The Bloods wear the color red, the Crips wear the color blue. That's kind of how the normies understand that. But in the city of Los Angeles, there are a multitude of subsects of the Bloods and the Crips, and depending on what block you're on, what street you're on, they control this block and that block. So we'll get deeper into this as the story goes on here. But the Rolling 60s are a group that have been very, very popularized over the course of the last several decades, honestly. And it's mostly due to their affiliation with rappers. There are a lot of rappers, primarily from the Los Angeles area, who have glamorized and popularized this group because a lot of them are in fact affiliated with this gang in Los Angeles. They said they're one of the first cliques of the Crips here, springing up during the 1992, if you guys remember the 1992 LA riots. This is the rise of like NWA and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and the whole LA scene, Eazy-E, the old LA rap scene that was glamorizing a lot of, the gang activity that was happening in Los Angeles at this time period. Nipsey Hussle, if you guys recall, the article just mentioned it there. He was a popular rapper about 10 years ago, was gunned down and killed outside of, I guess, one of the stores that he was either managing or running at the time. Got into it with a former associate with one of these gangs and came back, killed him dead in broad daylight too. There's a video of it if you guys care enough to look for it. But all of these people are associated with the same group of people. Very, very popularized in Compton and Crenshaw. And it gets to the point where before they were accusing people of being studio rappers. Well, now gangster rap has evolved to the point where now they're just getting legitimate criminals to be rappers now. So all of these rappers who are coming in, who are being popular, are associated with these gangs, and they're popularizing and glamorizing the games that they came up with. Big U is like I said, he's being charged with a whole bunch of crimes here. He's also allegedly being charged with defrauding companies, donors, athletes, and celebrities, including Golden State Warriors player Draymond Green and former NBA MVP Shaquille O'Neal, persuading them to donate to his quote-unquote charities that were basically just front organizations for his criminal enterprise here. And that's only the half of it. Not only was he scamming celebrities, but basically he was extorting them too, saying that the same way that the mafia does, it's like, hey, you're gonna want to pay us money for your protection, right? And if you don't pay us the money, bad things can happen to you, and it'd be unfortunate if that were to happen, right? And this is very, very rampant in Los Angeles. A lot of entertainers get extorted by these gangs that are in LA as a result of this, because you got people like Chris Brown claiming to be a Blood, Soulja Boy claiming to be a Blood. All these rappers want to be associated with these big name gang, but they're basically getting extorted. It's like, yeah, sure, we'll allow you to be an honorary member of our group as long as you give us a cut of what you make. And that's essentially what's happening here. You probably have heard the term quote unquote checking in, which is a gang related term, meaning that when you come into somebody's territory, you got to quote unquote check in with them, because if you don't check in with them, they'll be very, very upset at you, and bad things might happen. So that's all part of the extortion racket that goes on here in Los Angeles. And this is not just a thing in the city of LA. Now it's gotten so far where we glamorize it, where entertainers are now being rolled into this whole thing. There was a long-standing rumor that one of the biggest reasons why Shaq left Los Angeles in the 2000s was not just the whole Kobe Lakers thing, is that he was basically being extorted by these gangs to the point where he had to leave the state altogether to get away from people like this. And this story breaking out this week kind of exposing exactly what people have been talking about for many, many years here. Rashawn Williams, I should say, is one of the people who Hanley is being accused of killing. This is back in 2021. He was an up-and-coming rapper in that whole sphere, but of course, he didn't make it very well there as well. But this whole thing exposes a much bigger problem in Los Angeles, and it's just this idea that gangs, by and large, control a major portion of LA in the entertainment industry, because so many people want to be a part of this gang life, to be a part of this thug life. They've essentially allowed themselves to be extorted by these violent criminal group organizations. Like, this is not just like intermingling with the mob. Like, you're dealing with people who are far more dangerous, and because of the money that they're getting from these entertainments, probably far more powerful than a lot of people are looking at here. I'm pretty sure when Rick was going to LA, was it like a year or two ago? Rick, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Remember when you went to LA, we were telling you about, hey, if you go to certain neighborhoods in LA, there's certain baseball caps that you can't wear because they're tied to like gang affiliations. Remember that whole thing?
Yes. And so I decided just to wear my Star of David cap. I'm sure that would go over very well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you're just asking to be shot now. But outside of that, so I ran across this video, and this video is another one that's popular. It got like 300,000 views, and it's some rapper called Munchie B or whatever his name is, basically giving you the hand-to-hand, blow-by-blow about the hats that you can't wear in the city of Los Angeles, because, and this is something that is only primarily, I hate to say this, it's for black people, right? Because these gangs are very rapid, and there's hundreds of thousands of members in the city of Los Angeles. If you're black and are in the wrong neighborhood, you're wearing one of these completely inconspicuous Major League Baseball hats, the assumption is you must be a part of somebody's rival gang. And if somebody from the rival gang sees you wearing a baseball cap that they assume is gang related, they could run up on you, and things can get very, very bad very, very quickly. Here's a quick little exercise here and what caps that you can't wear in Los Angeles. And it really just goes to show you how bad and how sad the situation has gotten in Los Angeles. So here's a quick little go through here, some of the big ones that you're not allowed to wear.
So Munch, this first hat here is an all red P hat. It's got the white P. It's the Philadelphia hat. Who would rock this hat, and where should you not rock this hat?
All right, the world probably familiar with Compton, but as known to the Pyros, Bompton, right? So all Pyros wear the P hat, you know what I mean? And Compton is on with the Compton Crips and the Pyros. So if you were any Compton Crip hood with this hat on, you in danger, B-team. Don't get up out of there. Use GPS. But other than Bompton, they got Pyros in Inglewood, Pacoima, West Covina, Los Angeles, South Central. So, you know what I'm saying? This is exclusive to the Pyros, bro. So, yeah, if you in the wrong area with this on, you might be in trouble. So, you know the deal.
So Munch, this right here is an all red St. Louis cap. Who would rock that?
Y'all come from STL and y'all come out here, y'all hit LAX. This BPS. STL stand for Stone Love. You know what I'm saying? STL. They got many rivals. They ain't one of them hoods. They got minimal enemy. So you might be in trouble wearing this hat though. So if you don't know where you at, you gotta ask a cousin or uncle, a family member or something like that. Not only that, you go to Compton, Park Village, Compton Crib. Shout out to Bully. This stand for
yeah, shout out to the gang member who's made Los Angeles unlivable because you can't even walk outside with a baseball cap without getting shot. Shout out to that guy who's made everyone's life a living hell. Way to go, guys.
Jacob, if you're gonna get shot for like wearing a hat, it's probably a good idea to stay on this guy's good side, huh? You know, like
it's true. Yeah.
It goes on.
How do you
Laurel
tell
Street.
which hat is
with
hat?
the
and
STL,
which
you should
at a
have
shooting
Laurel
distance,
Street.
though.
So you will have some Park Village Compton
You
Cribs
guess?
that wear that.
Shoot first,
Like
ask
that,
questions
B.
later.
It's BPS. Then you go to Compton, Park Village, Compton, Crib.
Munch with the fellas, the Crips in Compton. They
And this is why it infuriates me too, because let's be honest here. Now, I know this is an absurd scenario here, but I'm just laying this out as an example. If Leonardo DiCaprio was to wear a Phillies hat in Compton, Los Angeles, he would not be hassled or harassed or shot or anything like that, because no one would assume a 50-year-old white guy is part of a local street gang, right? But that's the part is, it's like, this is when we talk about quote unquote the culture and being true to this is the culture here. This is exactly what we're doing. Like, we're beefing and killing each other over turf that we don't own, to the point where, like I said, we've now made an entire sports organization's apparel completely unwearable because you may not make it home that night in the wrong neighborhood. Which, guess what? If you're in the city of Los Angeles, a lot of neighborhoods are in fact the wrong neighborhood, and this is where we're at now.
But they're just reporting what's on the street. That's all rappers do. They're
just talking about their community, bro.
Yes, they're just telling it as it is.
Yeah, for what it is, this really is a black problem, because as you can see behind them, it's nothing but Mexican hats. So,
yeah, right.
Like, you can see who's really his target audience here, and so like no Mexicans walk around with a St. Louis hat.
Well, I know I'm safe.
Yeah, right.
Is that a piece of kale? What's on your hat?
That's Maine.
It's Maine.
Oh, okay.
It ain't red, and it ain't a P, and it ain't a Stone Cold Love Thug or whatever that was. So it's a squiggly line on a black hat. So I'm home.
I've got so many caps. It's like I don't know what I'm going to be able to wear out there. I think I'll wear my Taliesin cap that I got.
How about a stylish gray? Does that offend anybody?
Yeah, right. Like, what
nice
gets you not
charcoal.
shot?
Right.
Can you wear a NASCAR hat? Is that how that
No,
works?
you can't wear anything. You can't even wear this one either.
Bunch, this is an all red baseball cap with the W logo, Washington logo. Who would rock that?
All right, shout out to my boys from
Weebs.
West Side Pyros. Wally the Sensei, Hit a J3, a few more, man. They got a long list, but West Side Pyros, they most known for this hat. Other than, it's other hoods also, but they most known for this hat. And if you go to the West Adams area, this W, you might catch some West Boulevard Crips wearing this also. You know what I'm saying? West Boulevard Crips, they beef with the last hat, with the STL hat. You know what I'm saying? So you don't mix them two hats.
St. Louis and Washington always hate each other.
Yeah.
Imagine being like an executive for the Washington Nationals, and you're being told right now that, hey, by the way, black people are killing each other in Los Angeles, and they're all representing your hat. It's like the Washington hat. Like, how is it though that that's West Side Pyru?
I'm very confused. He just said Crips, and you're talking about a red hat.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, there's different variations of Crips. Like, not all of them wear blue. Like, you have the Grape Street Crips who wear purple. But they're still Crips.
It depends on which tier you're in. If you're in the gold tier, you get to represent a whole menagerie of colors. But if you're in like the silver or the bronze tier, you only pay like a couple of dues. It's not very spread out.
What about if you're just wearing a regular old LA Angels cap, considering the fact that like LA Angels play like 30 minutes like south of where Los Angeles is? Apparently, you can't even be an Angels fan in the city of Los Angeles in most neighborhoods, because that's bad too.
But it is. In your hand is a all red Anaheim Angels hat.
Anaheim Angels could stand for a couple of this, right? You'll have the Avalons that
It was the Angel of the outfield. That shit was
if you familiar with Cartoon Fire 3, go check them out. His hood. You'll have the Avenue Pyros in Inglewood. Rest in peace, Red Run was on Bangin' on Wax, all the little shit. That's
You're
his
so
hood.
happy.
You'll have the dudes from 40 Crip. That's from 40 Avenues. They're from the Avenues. They're where this has. Cross Atlantic Pyro for Atlantic Ave. All them hoods share the same hat though. So there's a lot of them that fall up under the demographic with the A hat though. You know what I'm saying? They mess with them. If you're an Angels fan, that's so bad, bro. You're gonna be in trouble. The game over, take it off. You gotta be cautious, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't wear an Angels hat in Los Angeles. You might get shot.
Well, I think
you see how frustrating and stupid this is?
Well,
this is what we're doing.
I was just pointing out that when I went to Los Angeles and I went to an Angels game, I think the Nixon Library is only about like maybe 8 minutes away. So you could buy a Richard Nixon cap, and I'm sure you'll be fine if you walk around like the Nixon Library cap.
Yep, walking around with a red hat with a big N on it. Mm-hmm. I'm sure nobody will misinterpret that one.
No, it's just a picture. It's just a big picture of Richard Nixon. That's the problem.
Eddie,
There's a comedy group called the Tricky Dicks.
All are big N.
Eddie, let me go to you real quick because you experienced this too, being in North Carolina, not to the extent of Southern California, obviously, but you've probably seen this a lot yourself too. Like, what's just your general thoughts on just how gang culture on a street level, and then now you're seeing that celebrities who have been the ones promoting this to the younger generation, even though they don't want to take accountability for this, now they're finding themselves into the fire because they've spent so much time interlinking with these violent street gangs. Now they're being extorted out of like 6 figures of worth of money. A lot of them are being attacked behind the scenes and stuff like that. It's not a good thing, right?
So, like, I'm really sympathetic a little bit for these celebrities because, you know, celebrities want to be liked and everything, and they want to look cool and be tough without actually having to, you know, put in the effort to be tough. So, but it's basically like if you go to a concert now, if I want to get a VIP, you know, a hand signed thing with the band and all this thing, I got to pay more in order to get the VIP experience. And so what these celebrities are doing, they're paying for the experience of becoming a, you know, being part of a gang. And like this, yeah. And like, it isn't like, I got to turn off the camera. It isn't like back in 1992, they used to do this a little bit also because I remember hearing rumor that LL Cool J used to do it. Queen Latifah used to do it. There was like a lot of like, you know, those types of higher up hip hop R&B type of people doing this kind of thing, buying themselves into gangs, and they got into trouble because eventually, you know, Tupac and Biggie eventually happened. So I don't know. Yeah. I remember all this stuff. This isn't all new. I'm glad Shaquille O'Neal isn't getting robbed anymore. I'm glad some of the celebrities aren't getting robbed anymore, I guess. I'm glad for Shaq at least. And I hope this guy gets put away. We already took out Tookie. And it was unfair for them to bring out a movie with Jamie Farr playing Tookie Williams. And
Jamie Farr?
Yeah, Jamie Farr, right?
Of MASH, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. He played Tookie Williams, and it was unfair for them to bring it out the day before they electrocuted him. So I hope this guy rots too. I hate gangs.
You know, sorry, Cider, go ahead. I didn't see your hand up.
I just think I'm too white to ask this question, so I just wanted to, you know, is killing this guy gonna fix this problem? Because I feel like killing this guy is not gonna fix this problem.
No. Even if they get rid of this guy, there's already like 50 other guys in their neighborhood that is going to be next in line. Like,
you know,
like I said, Los Angeles has a good number of probably about 250 to 350 registered gang members in the city that we know of. And that's so if you guys don't know, LA is a massive city. It's not like you have a couple of towns and, you know, that's like, it's massive, right? So a lot of the places south of LA is where the majority of the gangs are, but you can find them now in West Covina, Santa Monica. Some of them moved north. A lot of the more Hispanic gangs are on the east side of Los Angeles too, so it's like it's not great. And then that's just regular LA, right? Even if you're like, oh god,
Jacob, wait,
what?
Jacob, Stickly, the popsicle stick from Nickelodeon was in Santa Monica. Do you think he's okay?
No, he's a gay. No, he represents the LBC.
He got shot. He was wearing the wrong hat.
You know, no, Stickly was Pyruka.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I don't know when these problems started.
Costa Nostra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know when these problems started in Southern California. Okay, I don't.
I think you can reach back to like the Watts riots. That was probably where it all started. So somewhere in the 60s.
There was
Reagan.
Little movie that came out in 1998 called American History X, which kind of depicts some neighborhood issues along with you know, other things more central to the plot. But all I'm going to say is these problems have existed since then, and they haven't gotten any better. And just saying, maybe somebody had some. And I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, these social problems are still going on. What, 27 years later? So and they that movie came out. So there you go.
No amount of curb stomping has stopped anything.
The dumb question that I have to ask as a dumb old white guy is the lack of father Hood being at the source of this?
Yeah, it's almost as if when you're raised by a single black mother that, the outcome for you as a productive member of society goes down dramatically. It's almost as if
Especially
there's a
dramatically.
correlation there.
Gotta make that a
So-
T-shirt, dude.
Dramatically.
Dramatically.
Okay.
Dramatically. Especially when that father is in prison right now. He could be heroized in prison. You know?
But no, in all seriousness, it's like a lot of
hero 'em
these
up.
kids, they don't have fathers, they don't really have family, so they join gangs thinking they're going to find some kind of, leadership or camaraderie, and then you just end up in a system that's literally going to get you gunned down at the age of 20, and then the cycle just repeats.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, you've got all of these slay queens as the parents, so they don't need the man, because obviously it's all they need is just them, because they're the girl bosses and they can do it all.
So, again, along my list of white guy questions,
It's all right.
this obviously is not easily remedied. Obviously, getting these gang members into church would begin the process of rehabilitating them. How does that happen? Because currently, gang folk not too down with helping the community at their expense. And wouldn't you know, Christianity is kind of all about denying yourself those animal instincts. So a little
You
difficult.
want to know
there.
why the situation is not going to get any better? Because this is an oldie but goodie here. This is a woman whose son was just gunned down in one of these violent gangs in Los Angeles. And then here's how she responds, basically highlighting that this kid had no chance whatsoever.
It's the weekend, and I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm
I'm
from
going to the
Santana
beach.
Block Crip, so it's gonna do what it do.
Well, I hope your adopted son is okay. That you're able to get a hold
but I
of him.
heard that he passed.
Yeah, sure.
Hopefully that's not true, but it is. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
very
Wow.
All right. So again, multiple people.
Fucking
Yeah, so-
wow, dude.
Just
It's
to
the
put
weekend.
that into perspective
The weekend.
here. Just to put that in perspective here. Her son just got gunned down in a gang shooting, and her emotional response was to throw up the set and be like, "It do what it do," and then you wonder why he's
The
dead.
reporter is more emotionally distraught for this dead
Uh-huh.
kid.
And,
It's
and I
like,
know
I get-
you
Said, I guess.
the reporter was like, the white reporter was like, "You do hear me? Your son just died. Possibly."
guess.
Run this
Like,
by you another time. Should I take a lap
Mhm.
around the block, let it sink in, dear?
Mhm.
Yeah. But no, I see. This it perplexes me, Jacob. I've never witnessed that in my life. I have no idea how that happens. Is it like is it the violence that desensitizes the women like this? Is
I
that
don't
what
know.
that happens?
It's curious because I'm reminded of all those women in the Middle East who are like, all my 5 children were martyred, so I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy that my
Oh,
5
right,
children are
right.
dead. And we have something similar here. I don't know that mindset. They're not dying for a better cause. They're just dying, and the mothers seem fine with it. They actually seem almost
Mhm.
celebratory. I'm puzzled by that, and I say this as not a
So-
white guy from Maine.
There's a lot of things that are going on with this. Like I said, the violence in Los Angeles primarily, you could trace it back to like the early 60s, kind of that civil rights era, and then it only got slowly worse after that. And when the drug problems got bad, the violence went up even more. Then the gangs kind of exploded. And then even then, it was kind of like a regional thing. But like I said, you ended up getting the rise of rap groups like, NWA and Snoop Dogg and Tupac and all of those popularized West Coast groups. A lot of them were affiliated with those blood gangs, those Crip gangs and stuff like that. You go and talk about Ice-T and Suge Knight and all the affiliations that guys like that had. They, in a lot of ways, popularized that gang culture. Now, they don't want to take any kind of, responsibility for popularizing that. 'Cause it's like, hey, we were just doing rap music. We didn't tell anyone to go be in gangs, but you made it seem like being in a gang was cool because you were go there to rapping about your block and your set and all this stuff. So all these kids grew up listening to this stuff, and they're going to school trying to rep their block and their set, and they're listening to the stuff that you guys did, and now all these people think that it's cool to be be a part of gangs. You got people like Chris Brown, who this has been a big story over the last 10 years. It's not new, but Chris Brown, who's a thing from Virginia, for some reason became a big star, went to LA, and then started associating himself with the Pyru Bloods in LA, where he's rocking red and he's checking in with the gang members. And it's like, dude, you're like a pretty boy dancer from Virginia. Why are you trying to join gang culture? And it's like guys like Lil Wayne and Soulja Boy, and there's a multitude of people who have all been associated with this, to the point where even the high name celebrities, you got NBA players that are associated with this. Draymond Green is a big time NBA name from the Golden State Warriors. He's caught up in this. Shaquille O'Neal is caught up with the gang members in Los Angeles. Here's a video here of Steven Jackson, former NBA player from the Indiana Pacers. Here's him checking in with O-Block, because he has to keep it real to the set that he's from. By the way, you guys don't remember Steven Jackson. He was basically the best friend of George Floyd when the Summer of Love happened 5 years ago. So he very great company. But here's him checking in with O-Block. By the way, he's almost 50.
Pulling up, taking pictures. Where we at? Tell them how they coming. We're in the middle of it. What do you mean, nigga? Y'all pull up and take pictures and y'all not allowed to. And one thing about it, if you're a real one, you don't mind checking in.
That GoFundMe money sure got him a lot of blame.
That's why I'm in the.
Yeah, he's checking in with the real ones. This is a 50-year-old retired NBA player checking in with teenage gang members to show how true to the hood he is. And this is stuff that we're doing now. And like I said, this is what breeds the culture that eventually gets to a point where you can't even wear a baseball cap in the wrong neighborhood, because a bunch of people are going to think you're part of a rival gang, and they're going to jump you at best, shoot you at worst.
Listen, ever since I discovered any of this, my jaw's been on the floor. I still can't believe, there's rappers who talk about, you've covered it a few times, but I discovered it where it's like, you'll hear a song and you realize that guy literally got indicted for murder, him talking about it, he's literally talking about the time he committed this capital crime, and look, I know that this is about California, Southern California. This is true really of all inner city culture, inner city Black culture, where you don't have economic opportunities. The glorification is in committing crimes with your friends, a part of some gang, some criminal hierarchy. It's nowhere near as organized as like the mob was. And so, it's a bunch of people dying. It's a bunch of people in jail. And here's the thing. One of my favorite TV shows, and I know that I'm relating a TV show to this, is called The Wire. And it's about Baltimore, and it's about and the drug trade, and how bleak that world is, and how bleak in general that world is in these places, in these inner city communities, where it's like there's listen, I'm not even making excuses for it, because again, you want to do immoral shit, you're going to go to jail or you're going to end up dead. But it's like there's just not a whole lot of opportunity, and so it's striking to me. On a certain level, it's despairing, to try to see people live through this, and listen to that mother who says like it gonna do what it do. That's a woman who has resigned herself to the fact that she can't protect her children. She's not even gonna try. And I don't know what breaks somebody like that, where it's like you just completely you're literally, your child just died, and that's your answer. That's somebody that fundamentally broken as a human being. So I just on
you can only imagine what her son was like.
Level, it's like, what's wrong with you?
To that point, if you wanted to get a companion piece, I said it earlier, The Shield it came out the exact same time at The Wire. The Shield takes place in Los Angeles during Rampart in 1993 to 1996 or so. And it tells exactly what it is, the gang culture, the cop culture, because we got to remember, we can't trust the cops either in all of this, So like everything about Los Angeles is a powder keg, and this show came out exactly the same time as The Wire, 20 years ago or so, and you can see the building blocks of this powder keg being put together, waiting to explode. And just like the Wire, though I compare The Wire to a newspaper, and
Yeah.
the Shield is Shakespeare. Like it has a weaving story, it has a really compelling plot and everything else, but it tells you the hard truth of what it is to grow up in Los Angeles at the time, and I love that. That's the reason why I love the show.
So let
And
me
I'll say
ask you
this-
this. Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick, I'm going to ask Leslie's question, and then I think we'll wrap it up with you, Cider. Is that, Leslie asks, don't you have to be careful with the t-shirts and bandanas you wear? Yes, absolutely. I like I said, I was raised in an area near Skyline, California, Skyline, San Diego. So people who know San Diego area, you know about Skyline, rampant with Bloods, right? And because they have a lot of rival gangs in that neighborhood, it was basically an area, a part of town where you could not wear red. I know of a story of a person who was going to a grocery store. Some gang member saw him wearing a regular red t-shirt, had nothing on it, but just assumed that he was wearing that red t-shirt and meant that he was in the gang. The guy followed him home and shot him at his doorstep. Was not a gang member, but killed him because he was wearing a red shirt and he thought that he was in a rival gang.
My
They
gosh,
used to
It's like that.
They used to do stuff. They used to do stuff like that with those Looney Tune gang. Remember when they used to have back in the mid 2000s those Looney Tune gangs and the SpongeBob gangs and all that. Those used to be used as gang colors, essentially.
Nobody
I
works
remember
at
those.
Target is safe.
Yeah. And this is the type of atmosphere that you create. And like I said, it is rampant in Southern California, of all places. So it's like, yeah, imagine trying to survive the gang culture of Los Angeles. And everyone has that fantasy. It was like, well, one day I'm going to get out of the hood and I'm going to go to the nice neighborhood. So it's like, in Los Angeles, even if you get out of the hood and go to the nice neighborhoods, then you got to deal with the Satan worshiping pedophiles. So it's like you don't win in LA. That's the game. It's like there's
And then if you
nowhere
want to go
win.
home, and then if you want to go home, you're considered a sellout because you got too much money and you got too big and you can read now.
Yeah. And then that's the other sad part of it too, because when someone looks at this from the outside looking in and realizes this is wrong, this is not right, this is not natural, guess what? If you're not white, you're called a racist, and if you're black, you're called a coon and a sellout. And this is exactly what you have to deal with.
So what you're telling me is LA needs to be Mega City 1, and we need to unleash street judges.
From Judge Dredd, yeah.
Need to send Judge Dredd.
That would be
out there.
amazing. Yes, that would be fantastic. Yes.
So I don't know. I don't think Trump's above it at this point. I don't know if you've noticed. The guy doesn't give any shits anymore. What are they going to do? Not elect him again? So I don't know. We got Hollywood ambassadors. I don't know. They might slap Stallone and Semimer and say, "Hey man, if it's got a weird hat, if it's got a red hat on that doesn't say MAGA, shoot it."
It will certainly be a start. So yeah, that's the reality of living in certain neighborhoods in Southern California. That's what you have to deal with. So it's like, yeah. Not great. Just be happy that you're not a part of it. And to the idiots out there who have the money and the status to not be a part of it and they want to and glamour themselves around it. Like I said, hip hop itself has a culture of death, and then you add gang culture on top of that. You're basically asking to die in a violent manner, and a lot of rappers do end up dying in a violent manner. Look what happened to Nipsey Hussle, one of the quote unquote real ones, dead. What was it, like 30, somewhere around 30 when he got gunned down and shot. So it's like, way to go, guys. Way to waste your life entirely. So any final thoughts on this one before we kind of bring things up here towards the end?
Watch The Wire and The Shield.
Yeah, right. The Wire and The Shield is probably the closest you want to be to this life in reality than what really goes on there. But with that said, I knew that was going to be a bit of a downer, so I was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and flash it back to a time that people can view positively. And I chose the year 1995 because it's been 30 years now since 1995. So yes,
Jeez.
3 whole decades. Do you guys feel old yet?
Yes.
Why'd you tell me? Criminy.
But here, let's go back to 1995. Remember 1995 when stuff happened and things were a thing that went on? Here's a little video.
Hell yeah. Love this song.
Did anyone like Alanis Morissette?
I love this
Somebody.
song and this album. I have this
Did
album.
really? I
record.
did.
Yeah.
I like
Not bad.
Scott
That
Gwen Stefani.
it was only that they were mad at
Hercules.
Mr. Pawnee.
Hell yeah. Anime Michael Jackson. Therefore, hell yeah, that's my song.
Rayman.
Yep.
Babe.
I've never seen Babe.
You'd like it.
I love Dave.
This had to be PS1.
Yep.
Kyrie. I had a dream about
Mariah
her.
Carey before anyone realized she was nuts.
I had a dream about her
Oh,
in
that was a great
1995.
Did you get Shorty?
That's Shorty.
Another one I need to see. Caroline in the city.
Oh, it's Grumpy Old Men.
Sliders.
Sliders.
Yep.
Bad
Bad
Boys.
Boys 1.
First one, Jim. Mallrat?
Yeah, that's been more.
Oh, snap.
180,000 buildings were destroyed.
Hackers.
Do not remember who that blonde redhead is.
Father of the Bride Part
Father
2.
of the Bride.
And the original actually had a sequel, Father's Little Dividend.
Oh, my third fiance loved this guy's music.
First Night.
Hell yeah, I like
car bomb exploded outside of a large
Waco!
building in downtown
Oh,
Oklahoma
man.
City.
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
Ah, when Brandy was big.
Exo Squad.
Tank Girl.
Cypress Hill.
Oh.
Cranberries.
I'm pleased to announce that the parties.
I have a blowjob right now. It's fantastic. I'm the president.
I was 5 years old when this was happening.
Yep,
I
me
remember
too.
this.
Oh, that was Earthbound.
I was 12.
What was that?
What, in 95, I was, what, 7?
Oh, Mortal Kombat.
Oh my god, I remember that one.
Mortal Kombat
I
3.
still say that. I actually still say that. It's one of them.
Comic Zone.
Oh,
Wow.
that game's so hard.
I love that
Yeah.
game.
Is it Radiohead?
Yep.
Congo.
Metro!
Where do you see
Virtual
Congo?
Cop, I think.
Yep.
Don't go chase waterfalls.
Before Left Eye burned down the house. She should have done that
And
cover.
died.
She should have.
Dead Man Walking.
Oh, I hated that movie. We used to play it at school. Oh,
Hey,
this is
I
my
have to
jam. This is
watch
where I'm
this.
from, baby.
Batman and Robin.
Oh, no, let me just pause this.
No,
real quick
that's
to say-
Batman Forever.
Shut up, child.
Yeah.
Remember Leslie just listening to Maurice calling us old of all people. Like, shut up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch Dead Man Walking. That's sacrifice.
You too?
I'm a bean.
He's Freakazoid.
Well, I know that one. That was
Freakazoid.
Freakazoid.
The worst storm in a decade.
Oh,
And
Andrew.
a super typhoon.
French Kiss.
Hell yeah, Filter.
Oh, I know that one.
Hey.
Goofy movie.
Joan Osborne?
Crash, I had a huge crush on Christina Ricci at that time.
Usual Suspects.
No, never seen.
Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Okay, insufferable personalities aside, would you rather go with a young Christina Ricci or a young Natalie Portman?
Christina
Portman.
Ricci.
Ah, that's my jam.
Stickly, they did the thing.
It's Stickley. Oh, it's a Fantasy Star.
Oh, that's right. He's going to be an environmentalist.
The World Trade Organization, WTO, is formed to deal with the rules of trade between nations.
Yeah.
Oh, waiting to exhale. I actually like this. This is a chick flick I like. And this one, too.
How dare you, sir?
Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide. That was great.
Oh, and that bring that.
Oh, I remember that one. That was the couch, big couch.
Oh, hell yeah!
The girl from the big comfy couch was way hotter than we realized as kids.
Yeah, she had quite an ass. Holy.
Oh my god, it took me 20 years to find
Ace
this
of
song.
Base! I love it with Ace of Base. Come on.
Ace of Base!
Goosebumps.
Oh,
I remember that. I just don't remember anything else out of this. I'm sorry. I don't know any of this.
Oh, this was supposed to be like a big thing. Boyz II Men and Mariah together.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of the before films, but
Yeah, they're good.
Michael's Last Stand.
Michael Jackson somehow got aggressively whiter as the 90s went on. It was
Dude,
weird.
it was fantastic.
It does look like a lesbian here. Honestly.
He didn't check in. He didn't check in.
Absolutely. And he was nailing
Now-
every single hit out of that time.
It's
Every
like,
song he
imagine like 1985 Michael Jackson versus 1995 Michael Jackson trying to explain people to what happened in the span of 10 years.
He turned it to
I was
Prince,
not
a very
replaced
light
by a
version of
lizard
Prince.
man.
Yeah.
If you go from The Wiz, if you go
can tell
from The
it's-
Wiz to this,
You could tell it's good Michael though, because he still has the pointy nose. So
Aw, well, that sucks. Oh god.
Worms.
Oh, grenade worms. Yeah.
I know this one definitely.
Indian in the
Oh,
cupboard.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Can we say that?
It's
anymore?
Indy in the fucking cupboard.
Yep.
Oh, Alex.
King of Fighters. 95.
Gin Blossoms. Oh my god.
Everything but the girl.
Oh, Walk in the Clouds.
Don't you hate it when Stalin interrupts sex night?
Yeah, right.
That was
The
Walk in
Net?
the Clouds. That was
Yeah, the net.
I like that. Clouds. Another
Oh, when he broke his arm or whatever.
A Little Princess.
Oh, it's Edwin McCain.
Il Postino.
Couple of the Penguin.
Oh,
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Cool. Hell yes! Sandstorm! Garbage!
Bob theme
Yeah.
song.
Well, yeah, I remember this.
I have a great personality and a big laugh. Oh, when York was relatively sane. Oh, Stone Temple Pilots. I saw them in concert.
They were awesome.
I never played any of these nerd games.
Well, that's my song too.
Oh, Nick of Time.
Trapping Daisies.
I always
Nina.
I like the original better. Oh, City
Yeah.
of Lost Children. 9 months, right?
9 months. Yeah.
Street Fighters.
Don Juan DeMarco. Actually, not a bad song.
The Big Brown Bear.
Oh my god, Taxi
President
Cab
of the United
Confessions.
States.
12 Monkeys.
Spectre
Spectre
Man.
Man.
Morrissey. Right?
That's not Marcy.
No.
Come on.
No, this is Blind Tree.
Oh, it's Dan Avidan.
Connecticut, Yankee, and King Arthur.
Pretty Baby Spin Doctors.
Dr. Katz.
Yay.
Oh, Marvel vs. Capcom.
Major Pain. Casino.
Oh, Casino. Yep.
Oh god, was it the year Showgirls came out?
No.
Yeah. Oh, when the greatest day of black people's day in life ever.
He was guilty. Yeah, Shaggy's trying to blend reggae and rap.
Fucking Finn.
Oh, look! Take that!
Wow.
The greatest pop star in the world, Robbie Williams. People just
Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah,
outrageous.
Johnny Mnemonic.
I don't understand why people are so obsessed with Robbie Williams.
Again, wow.
That's the Foo Fighters' first year. I forgot that.
There it is. I'm on it. I was plugged
Blues
into
Traveler.
the 95 tonight.
Blues Traveler.
Have a problem.
Hey, you guys remember rock music? Remember when that was a thing?
Oh,
Selena.
Virtual Boy. Wow.
Selena.
Gas was released on the Tokyo
The
subway.
Uncle Reed.
Oh yeah.
Xena.
Shaka Gar.
You guys remember Xena? That was a really fun show.
That was-
I don't know why I
Jenny
liked it.
McCarthy. Ah,
With the shadow one. Oh, can they show Weird Al too?
yeah,
Amish Paradise.
Ridiculous movie.
Oh,
Pocahontas.
it's the Elizabeth Warren campaign theme.
With Tony Braxton. Hey. This used to be Christian rock.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of mom jeans music
Ah,
here.
Selena.
That's-
Yes.
Star Selena
Very.
has been shot and killed in
When they
Texas.
killed Selena, that fucking ass.
Was it Pride and Prejudice, right?
I don't
Sense
know.
and Sensibility or Sense and Sensibility.
I think
Yeah,
it's
Sensibility.
Ah,
Okay, Madonna.
Is that woman a goblin?
No,
Is that no Winona Ryder?
yes, it was.
Dear mom.
Dragons.
When he came out of the Rhino's head.
oh, this is
Seal.
Seal.
Kiss on Earth. Kiss on the Rose.
Yeah. Great song.
Assassins.
Ed Wood.
Yeah.
Seven.
Well, no, that was Dead Man.
What's in the box?
Or was it Ed Wood? I thought it was Dead Man. But... I thought Ed Wood came out in '94.
Alto.
Oh yeah.
Dead and Loving
Dead
It.
and Loving It. Ah,
Quick and the
Quick and
Dead.
Quick and the Dead. Yep. Wait.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Kids.
You city kids had a way different life. Way.
Annie Lennox. Go girls!
There you go.
Right.
Hey.
Hey, Cider. I think I just found your idea for a bounding series. Let's just go back in time and watch all the shit that you missed out on.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That's the word. That was
American
Cider
President.
hasn't seen shit.
while you were sleeping.
While you were
when,
sleeping, yep.
when Sandra Bullock was America's sweetheart.
I came from another planet. That's what I'll call it. I came from another planet.
Die Hard 3 with Vengeance.
Have I been?
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Hold on, that's not fair. That was in Japan. How were we supposed to know about
Outbreak.
that?
Well, we had it by then.
Oh, that's Natalie Merchant, right? Or 10,000 Maniacs.
Yeah. That was 10,000.
They did a great cover of Because Night on MTV Unplugged. People forget Garbage did a Bond song. The world is not enough.
Mad TV.
Live.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Waterworld.
The Waterworld.
Well, I go
in the Universal Studios.
Father Ted.
Father Ted.
That's Bond.
Hell yeah.
I remember when Pierce Brosnan drove a tank through a wall.
Breakfast at the
What just happened? What was that? What?
Long Cruise.
All I want to be with you is Kids Killdozer!
I remember
Killdozer!
I sing that song every time I hear it at the
A
Walgreens.
quick little story. I remember this when it happened.
That
Some
was
dude
amazing.
straight up stole a tank and
Yes.
just started driving it through the streets of like San Diego. It was awesome.
It was
They were
amazing.
inspired. That was promotion for GoldenEye.
Only in
Uh-huh.
the USA, by the way, do we say. And that was awesome.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, remember that time that dude stole a tank and then you
Just
drove it
fucked
into
up
city
shit, and the
GTA?
police couldn't stop him. That was so
That
fucking
was
cool,
awesome.
dude.
That was awesome.
The spike strips, it didn't work, bro. It was amazing.
The cops didn't have anything to stop him, man. We had no idea what heavy armor was. Nobody
The
thought
dude
he
gave up.
was things.
The dude gave up when he ran out of gas, brother.
5 of them. 5 of them.
Brother, I'm going to tell you, Hulkamania is the tank that doesn't run out of gas, brother. And we're going to tear up shit in every neighborhood we show up in. Let's go.
It was awesome. You know, I'm gonna admit, 1995 was pretty awesome.
Louder.
Yes, it was.
The heart of the capital has been filled today.
The Million Man March.
American men, a huge crowd.
Oh boy, he just died.
Just start playing French dance music
Hell
over the
yeah.
Million Man March.
Hell yeah.
Basketball Diaries.
Is it Jeremy?
Basketball Diaries. Yeah.
You remember FMV,
Wow.
guys? Remember that?
It's mystery.
Push.
Get down on it. Get down on it.
Was that Backstreet Boys?
Metal.
Yeah.
Van Halen.
Is that Chuck Norris?
Yes.
Good album.
With a dog.
Riverdance, when there was really big.
Oh, Michael Flatley. Yeah.
Riverdance.
I'll say I'm
Yeah,
more
remember
David
Ireland?
Roth.
That was an institution.
Remember Ireland?
Desperado.
Desperado.
That's my six out there.
Oh, yeah.
Butterfly Wings. Boy, REM was still relatively same.
I didn't know most of these had music videos.
Reading history.
What you do in Denver when you're dead?
I remember taking 20 years to find this song too.
Sabrina.
Sabrina.
I
yeah.
never saw the remake, but the original is not good.
Leaving Las Vegas. I'd like to point out that I railed so many chicks through these songs.
Thank you.
Billy Madison.
Yeah, Drew Carey.
Ah, Blues Traveler.
Angus. Bridges of Madison County.
You remember when Clint Eastwood didn't look like he was in agony all the time?
Yeah. He had a really good run, honestly.
Join a brave rebellion with Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Chewbacca. And Jedi
They finally
Obi-Wan
released the
Kenobi.
toys.
Can you stop the
I've
Empire?
never read
Star
the
Wars
book.
Power of the Force
I
collection
think
from
that's
Jedi.
something I should recommend.
What?
If I ever find it. The Bridges of Madison County.
Yeah, you don't need to read it.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. There's your trip down to Memory Lane this week.
Also, I didn't think I was going to
Thanks,
say this, but I think I've seen more movies than Rick because there's just too many things that as soon as I'll name something, I'd be like, I haven't seen it. And like, what is wrong with you?
Well, you've got me beat, Rob. I see you post like I'm watching this now. I'm watching that. It's like I'm lucky if I watch like one
Okay.
movie a week.
I
You
have to
watch,
seriously
like
slow
5
down.
to 7 in a day.
Because I literally made it a like I was going to watch as many things as I could within like a 10-year span. It's been 8 years since I started this in 2017. Time just got away from me. So I can probably stop now, honestly, being so
You can't stop.
ferocious.
You can't stop. You won't stop.
I mean, sorry for
Just
calling
like
you.
the
So, no, we are old. We're just in denial. That's all it is.
To be fair though, Maurice Johnson, I see you comment in the chat every week with something where you were a little irked by or a little sensitive to. So, just keep that in mind that like we all can kind of like take a joke and be made fun of a little bit, and it's fine. We're all doing fine.
We're not old. We're retro.
I refuse to acknowledge that I'm aging. Okay, I'm 36, and I feel every day of it. So,
Oh, poor 36. Just wait till your lower back and your knees start feeling it.
yeah.
Well, that's been an episode tonight. We talked about Snow White and Disney. We talked about Bella Ramsey being borderline retarded, not actually retarded. We talked about LA gangs, and then we heard a little bit of Ace of Base. So I figured that was a pretty solid show for one sitting. So now I'm going to hit the floor to you guys, so you guys can promote anything you got coming up. We'll go ahead and start with this guy right over here.
All right. Well, I have finished my Exorcist retrospective, so I'm just going to do my conclusions. And by the way, Exorcist Believer is one of the worst films ever made. So I'm starting a new retrospective where I'm going to look at Peter O'Toole's 8 Oscar-nominated films and see why he lost 8 times, and see if maybe he should have won for one or some of them. So, yeah, just keep posting that and more reviews. So that's pretty much it. Thank you, everyone. This has been delightful.
You know what? Groucho Marx said about Peter O'Toole, right?
No.
He said, "How can you trust a man with a name with a double entendre?" So, folks, Eddie Brock underscore YT on Twitter. We were talking about 1995. I was writing, I was trying to write back in 1995 when I was a kid. And so I used to write these really long plays or whatever. And so recently I decided to go through my notebooks, and I put a couple of them through AI and everything. And I'm starting to cut them up into little sections. So I released 2 scenes that I wrote when I was about 12, 13 years old, 1995. And I put them up on my Twitter. So if you want to read those and relive 1995, at least through a lens that I remember, check them out.
Dokie. Cider. We're not.
Tomorrow night over on Bounding at 8 o'clock, we're going to talk about anime, Assassin's Creed, as well as a shrine in Japan banning totally tourists, all right? If you go in there not to worship, you're not allowed to show up anymore. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, along with more screw-ups going on. So we'll see you then.
Did you add an audio drop to your outro?
I just, yeah.
Is that the Taco Bell theme? What's that?
I think that's the Undertaker reference. Yeah. So hey guys, there's nothing going on in terms of new movies, so I am going to do something drastic and write movie reviews for old movies. So yeah, I don't really know what else to do. I'm gonna go insane, but yeah, no, there's plenty of just stuff I haven't gotten to yet. I need to make it more of a priority, but that's a broken record at this point. So you can always follow me over on my Twitter. It's Rob_Motto. I think Alex Garland has another war movie coming out. So I'm just gonna say I'm looking forward to that. But until then, you know where to find me.
All right, letting you guys know what I got coming up. Yep, tomorrow night I'll be on the 01 show with Cider and Nerdigans, talking about things that are just happier than what we talked about tonight, instead of getting old and gangs and stuff like that. So we'll have a much better time on tomorrow night show. I'm trying to get back into doing a little bit more content. A lot of stuff's been going on behind the scenes. Haven't been able to get to a lot of stuff that I would like to, but hopefully the next week or so I can get back into the swing of things. Not that I canceled any of my shows, just had not had the time to do them, so we'll work on that. This Sunday we do have another Bible Lens coming up. We talked about Ezekiel 38 last week. We're talking about Ezekiel 39 this weekend, so we're continuing our series there. And then, like I said, next week we'll be back here 144 for the bar room. So for all of our guys joining us here, for all the people in the chat who came with us and listened to us for all the ups and downs, thank you very much. But now it is in fact time to go on and get out of here. So adios, good night, and goodbye. See you later. It is outro time. Which one's the outro? Should we? No, I should do the short one. That one's shorter, so we'll just do the regular old outro rather than the classic outro. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Okay. Oh.
Making your way through the daily grind takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to tune away? All those nights when you're feeling low, the rent is overdue. And your coffee maker's broken, your luck just seems to skew. And your boss is always on your case. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. Roll out of bed and you feel the dread. The morning's looking bleak. The morning's and your internet is down again. You haven't slept all week, and your car just broke down on the way. Be glad there's a place online where you can feel at ease. In the Barroom Podcast, friends, we share our thoughts and teas. Every story shared, every laugh so free. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. So here's to the moments we all hold dear. In this ballroom of the airwaves with friends so near. Every story shared, every heartfelt cheer. It's more than just a podcast, it's where we steer.
I still don't feel like I know how to shoot these things.